Lexity, or Anastasia, is a TikTok comfort creator, which I say in heavy quotation marks because the longer this person has been on the internet for, the less comfortable they've become. There are a whole host of victims under this person's name. They are undeniably abusive and just recently got done for hitting a pregnant woman. So yeah, certainly an interesting individual, and I will be covering everything regarding this person. But first, thank you all so much for 300,000 subscribers. We did it! We finally got to it by the end of the year. There was a real risk that we wouldn't get to it, and I was genuinely worried there for a little bit, but you guys showed out, right? You pulled through, and I really do genuinely. It is a bit funny that we just got the 100k plaque like last week as I hit 300,000, but you know, I still have this thing here. I showed this at some point in like one of the older videos, but I've still got this sort of whiteboard painting thing that my girl drew me when I hit 100k. And now we're at 300k. All right, now you're gonna have to blow a cock on the bottom right. So yeah, man, it really does mean the world to me. This job is an absolute dream come true, and I really can't thank you guys enough. Enough of that though, because realistically, who actually cares? Let's start talking about Lexity, otherwise known as Anastasia. I think they've changed their name a few times, but currently they go by Anastasia. We can have a look at her TikTok over here with 140,000 followers. I think that they've been deleted a few times, so I'm not sure about. And they've also got a very fluctuating follower count. They've lost a lot, they've gained a lot. It's one of them accounts. They got popular, sort of discussing mental health topics, a lot of fun fact videos that work their way into the algorithm, as well as sort of songs every now and then. And unironically, they're actually, you know, quite talented musically. I don't mean in terms of like singer-songwriting, but they are quite the beatboxer. Like, have a look at this. This is actually genuinely mind-blowing. That's pretty cool. Like, I'm not even gonna cap. That's cool. Alright, that one not so much, but whatever, you get the point, right? She also has this really fun quirk where at the start of all of her videos, she goes like, oh, hello, sweet pea. She refers to the audience as Sweet Pea, which you can even see in the middle of that sentence. I cringed a little bit because I realized just like, oh god, that is awful. I don't like that at all.
Hey sweet peas. Hey gorgeous.
Oh, that way they switched it up on that one. Gorgeous.
Hey sweet peas. Hey sweet pea. Hey sweet pea. Hey sweet peas. Hey sweet pea. Hey sweet peas. Hey sweet pea. Hey sweet pea. Hey sweet pea. Hey gorgeous. Hey sweet peas.
Okay, so they seem to change between hey gorgeous and hey sweet pea, maybe depending on how they feel that day. But what I can say for sure is that I really don't like it. I fucking despise it. I hate it. I don't like it. I don't even like when YouTubers like come up with names for their audience. It just comes across to me as such like blatant, I've taken a YouTube 101 course and they said that we need to call my subscribers something so that they feel as though they're part of the community or some shit. I've never been a fan of that. I've always thought it was giga cringe. And for those coming at me with like, oh no, you called your fans Dankyjabo that one time. I never intended for that to stick. And I really hope it hasn't actually. I said that once and you man just ran rampant with it. I've got about 50 Instagram followers with the username Dankyjabo, and it's infuriating, honestly. It's like, do you guys know what a giblet is? It's like the little ugly bit of the chicken or turkey that no one wants or likes. Anyway, just for context again, here's a fun fact video that she made and she was so popular for.
Good morning. Have you ever noticed how a lot of button-ups have like a slightly different pattern on the inside of the cuff than they do on the rest of the shirt? That's so you can do something that I've heard called an Italian roll. If you fold it up once so that the bottom edge of the cuff lines up with where your elbow is underneath the shirt, then you fold over the folded part once and work it a little bit to get it all flattened out, you'll end up with like this shape where you have like all three layers.
Here's one more. This one got a lot more views. This was like their first claim to fame, I think, the first video that they made that went viral.
What's the proper etiquette when you pick up a rock and there's a cool bug underneath and you want to put the rock back? Do you put the rock back on top of the bug? Because I feel like I might squish the bug, but if I put the rock back next to the bug, I feel like I've ruined the bug's little hideaway. I don't know. I just want to be polite to bugs. I love them, you know?
Sort of spitting bars on that one. I'll give her that, like. But you can see a large part of her community as well. It's just sort of these comments thirsting over her. I was mostly focusing on how beautiful you are. Yeah, bug cool. Blah, blah, blah. Proper name, place name, backstory stuff. I love bugs too, but anyway, are you single? If you called me cute, I'd faint, actually. This one here calling her gorgeous as well. I'd want you to take me and the rock home, so I don't know. But you can see here, like, she definitely plays into the whole people think that she's very attractive sort of thing.
Hey cutie, I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. Humans are animals, and they need to experience fight or flight every once in a while. And if you don't put yourself in fight or flight, your body will put you in fight or flight for you. And it will be a lot less comfortable if you don't know what's happening. So go do something crazy. Go do something that gets your adrenaline pumping and your heart racing. Ask a stranger if they want to kiss you. I don't know. Watch a horror movie. Get a piercing.
To be fair, that is true. You know, you want a bit of fight or flight every now and then. The hot water went off in my flat for like a day, and oh my god, it was awful. I had to take a cold, like an ice cold shower. The heating was off completely, so it was the coldest that the shower possibly could have been. I would show you guys the video, but I don't want to end up on one of them like sort of weird men moaning fetish accounts, which I definitely would end up on if I showed you the video, by the way, because the noises extruding from my body are not ones that I'm comfortable being public, to put it lightly. This video would need to hit like 40,000 likes before I even started to think about it. But yeah, man, I feel as though like this sort of thirsting that a lot of people have exhibited over her has definitely played into her ego and sort of allowed her to think that that she has the ability to get away with the things that we will later talk about her doing, because she is like unbelievably entitled and unhinged, as you'll soon see. Anyway, before we go into that, we'll have a look at more of the like relationship type content that she's been making. These are important to remember later because she breaks pretty much all of these rules that she sets out, and also there's a lot of them that have specifically been set out very obviously so that she can like use them to defend herself if need be. You'll know what I mean. I'll show you the videos now and you'll see what I mean.
I'm gonna tell you about some more red flags that you should definitely avoid in a relationship. If they can't lose to you graciously, like let you know more about something or lose to you in a game without getting upset, well, you should avoid that person, because maybe that person is just using you as a prop to make themselves feel superior. And you don't want to find yourself in that position, because a person like that is going to avoid things that you're talented and good at just to make themselves feel good. They only want to engage in things that they're better than you at. You don't want that. You want somebody who's going to build you up and engage in your talents to make you feel good and special, don't you? And on that note, another red flag you should avoid is people who can't fill your needs, or rather people who get mad at you when you have needs. Like if you tell someone that you have a need and instead of empathizing with you about that need or trying to fill that need, they just get mad at you for having needs.
Okay, so remember that, you know, being able to control your anger when things aren't going your way, right? To paraphrase slightly loosely. If you want to get really specific, sort of avoiding things that you know your partner is better than you at, which I suppose on a level is a totally reasonable thing to want to avoid, but if it's like, I don't know, if your partner's a fucking chess grandmaster and you've never played in your life, obviously you're not going to want to play them in chess. I'm going to say this part extra loudly so that my girlfriend hears me and comes in and gets really mad. See, my girlfriend can't do anything with me because I'm just so much better than her at everything that she never wants to do anything with me. You hear the footsteps? Here she comes. What are you talking about?
You being cheeky?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Right, okay.
Well, it's true though, isn't it?
What is?
Whenever we go out to fun fairs and there's shooting games, you never want to play them with me because of how you got embarrassed the first time. Remember what happened? Do you want to know? You want to know what happened? But do you want to reiterate what happened? But do you want to say what happened when we had the shooting game?
My gun was broke.
No, it wasn't actually. No, because I took your gun and I shot down all your things.
No, you took it all.
No.
Yeah.
I didn't miss one, and you missed all of them. I didn't miss one. Okay, well, do you see how our relationship is actually toxic? And according to Anastasia, it shouldn't be a thing. Like, there's a big red flag going on here from both our ends, actually.
First of all, empathizing with someone you've hurt means feeling the way you made them feel. So you should be upset, and you should feel sad when you're apologizing to someone for hurting them. Also, an unsolicited apology means about 1,000,000 times more than an apology someone has to ask for. So if you really want to make amends, you should make the first move and take responsibility.
That's true, I guess, like especially the last half. Like, when someone asks you to apologize or tells you that you need to do it, when you eventually do it, it means fuck all. Like, because you've been told you need to do it, it means nothing at that point. Or at the very least, it's like 80% less substantial. But with that first bit, I'm not sure I'm on that. Because it isn't possible to feel the way that you have made someone else feel. Like, I don't know, if some fucking white kid microaggresses against, like, you know, a black dude, as much as they might feel bad for it, they might feel some sympathy, they might feel regretful for what they did, they can't really empathize and feel the way that they made said person feel and apologize for that reason, right? And to claim that they could is equally as ignorant as whatever the microaggression was, probably more so, in fact. Yeah, I mean, it's just impossible to feel exactly how others feel. That's why the term empath is so fucking infuriating to me. I think empathy is a fine word if you play with it sort of fast and loose. Like, I understand loosely how you might feel because I've been in similar situations and that, but you cannot feel the exact feeling. It's just not possible. Whenever people claim that that they can, or that they are like actual empaths. All it says to me is, I have a god complex and you need to stay away from me at all costs, because I will blame every bad behavior that I exhibit on my empath trait.
I'm just making this video to remind myself why I'm breaking up with my partner. They told me that they wanted me to be a man, just a man. I'm omnigender, so I'm a man and a woman, but telling me that you want me to be just a man is wishing me to be someone I'm not, and that's really gross. They abandoned me when my tires got slashed, which was a hate crime, and I really needed their emotional support, but they broke up with me because they didn't want to wake up with me. I waited several hours for them to wake up, which I do every day because I sleep less than them. However, every day they tell me that I don't wait for them to wake up, and they get mad at me when I eventually wake them up because I have to exist in the space because I'm not just going to wait forever. What else? Oh, when my mother kicked me out of my house, they abandoned me. They broke up with me. They broke up with me because I asked for them to support me right before I was going on stage at an event where I was going to play flute boxing, and I wanted them to be there for me, and they chose to chop onions instead of doing that, despite the fact that the people they were working with were telling them that they would be willing to chop the onions for them and gave them every opportunity to leave, and I'm very upset about that because I had spent the entire day, well, actually several weeks, supporting them in exactly what they needed to do. They broke up with me for, like, my mom kicking me out of my house, and then when their dog died, well, their dog died several days before that, actually. Our dog died several days before that, but they called me and were like, oh, so you just don't even care about me? You're just going to ignore me? And they bullied me into helping them through their loss, while simultaneously giving me no emotional support through my problems, because they're incredibly selfish and manipulative, and I should never get back together with them. And this is me telling you and myself.
Okay, this is important as well, because this is the start of an ongoing trend that will never end with this person. She has a habit of going over stories and retelling them in ways where she has never done anything wrong whatsoever, and the other party is completely guilty, which will be important later because she herself says that, like, stating things and explaining things like that is a huge red flag when one of her victims comes out and says similar things. Not even, actually. She was a lot more charitable now that I think about it, but we'll get onto that later, don't you worry. In terms of the ex that they're talking about here, though, yeah, maybe they were an arsehole, who fucking knows. We don't know much about this ex. There is a partner that we do know a little bit about, that we learn a little bit about, one that she visits regularly in, like, the caravan, I think, that she lives in, something like that. And that's a whole drama. It's a real big doozy, so stay tuned for that. That'll be the next topic we talk about after these relationship videos. This one here is pretty vital to understanding Anastasia.
All emotions are actually equally valid, and that includes anger, actually. It's not like the one exception to the all emotions are valid rule. It's not any more or less abusive than any of the other emotions, like sadness. You can manipulate someone by crying at them, or just being really, really sad and self-destructive around them, you know, just like you can by screaming at them. And why would one of these things be more inherently abusive than the other one?
I would suppose because screaming is a lot more in your control. Obviously, there are times, if you have, you know, certain mental illnesses like BPD, which I believe that Anastasia is actually diagnosed with, although on recent lives, she has said, no, she doesn't have BPD, but she has autism. But either which way, for sure, there are, you know, certain mental illnesses or blockers or just, you know, things that certain people have that make holding back screams or, you know, quickness to anger a lot more difficult. But I think it is completely fair to say that generally, for the majority of people, it is a lot harder to fake cry than fake scream. Like, pretty much everybody can scream, unless you, I don't know, don't have a mouth. It takes, you know, genuine skill to be able to cry on command. I couldn't do it to save my fucking... I'd have to, like, punch myself in the face a few times. But I could never be like, oh, I'm gonna manipulate this person by crying or something. But I could, theoretically, manipulate someone by, like, screaming at the top of my fucking lungs. Especially if I know that said person is just one of them people that sort of crumbles as soon as they get yelled at. Which, a lot of people are like that. They just start crying uncontrollably when people yell at them. Theoretically, just to be clear, theoretically, I wouldn't actually do that. Watch in 5 years... Like, I'm gonna get exposed for some heinous shit, and they're gonna use it. This clip's gonna look real bad if that happens, which it won't, of course.
As long as you're not actually resorting to physical violence, there's no reason that screaming at someone is worse than crying at them. They're both just ways of inducing an emotional reaction in that person, right? And if you're using that to coerce them, maybe it's the coercion that's the problem. Like, ignoring your emotions doesn't actually make them go away anyways. So if you feel angry, you need to express that anger in some way, or you're just gonna have it come out in ways that you're not prepared for and aren't even aware of, maybe. And that's way worse for everyone involved, I promise. Like,
yeah, but that's not really an excuse to scream at your partner. There are healthier ways to let your anger out than fucking yelling at your partner. I think crying at your partner is undeniably healthier than yelling at them. And to act as though they're on the same level is just, it's ridiculous in my opinion. And the only reason, well, I say the only reason, one of the reasons why she is saying this is because she has a tendency, as we learn later, to scream. And I mean yell for hours on end at her partners, right? We see some of it in her lives, her TikToks, which we'll get into later, but her partners as well. Like, a large part of the abuse that she exhibits towards her partners is just yelling incessantly for hours over, realistically, fucking nothing. And a lot of the reactions in these partners is to cry, because having someone yell at you for hours on end, for many people, is quite a difficult experience, and it can lead to tears. So this video here is her trying to say, well, if I yell at you and you start crying, then we are equally as guilty as each other, in a way. I truly do believe that is what she is trying to get across here, but just, you know, saying it in a smoother way, where maybe she can sort of come back to this video later on and be like, see, I knew it, I knew they were manipulating me with their fucking tears.
Shove anger down and pretend it doesn't exist. And when someone is angry, you can't just pretend like you don't have a part to play in that. Like, yeah, you might not want to change anything. They might be the one who is in the wrong in that situation, but you are definitely responsible.
What? Sorry. This is like fucking victim blaming 101. Like, what is this? No, just because you're being yelled at, it doesn't mean that you have a part to play in it or that you're responsible. That's like saying if someone cheats on you, you need to look back at your behavior and try to figure out what you did wrong to make them cheat on you. It's like, no, most of the time, in cheating at least, like, they're just a fucking arsehole. It's not your fault. If someone is getting abused, you should not be telling them that they are undeniably responsible for the abuse that they're getting. Maybe suggesting that looking back and trying to figure out where the red flags were and seeing where they could have sort of stepped out or behaved differently is completely fair enough, but to say that they are directly responsible for the abuse that they are enduring is insane. Especially for someone who talks about relationships and that for a fucking living, it seems. Like, they make so many of these, and they come across, well, they try to come across as like such a soft-hearted expert about it, but like, fuck me. What is this rhetoric that is being parroted here?
When someone is crying because of you, like, yeah, they might be unreasonable and they might be manipulating you, but you still are responsible on some level for them crying. And if you care about that relationship, you need to address that responsibility, right? You ignoring someone being mad at you or ignoring someone being sad at you is you choosing to give up on that relationship.
But what if the reason is so unbelievably petty that it does not even constitute, like, a level of responsibility? Like, I don't know, let's say you're in the house with your man and you drop a glass cup. The glass cup is like £2, it's not a big loss at all, it's just a couple minutes of cleanup and you're fine and down. I say your man, but like, either gender could be equally as guilty of this, it doesn't really matter, right? Let's say your partner, after you dropping said glass, fucking yells at you for hours on end, like just incessant yelling, calling you the worst things in the fucking book. It's like, yeah, I suppose that there is a reason for them to be shouting. I suppose you have done something that in some sick and twisted way makes you responsible for their shouting. But like, if we're really being honest about this and looking at it in good faith, it's not your fucking fault, and they're the ones being unreasonable here. You are not to blame. In any healthy relationship, any healthy or decent person would go, you know, maybe be angry for like a split second, control themselves, realize, oh wait, this is nothing. Don't worry about it. Especially if you love that person, it's like, what the fuck is a couple minutes of cleanup and $2? Nothing. I think for most people, there wouldn't even be that little spurt of anger at the beginning. Definitely not with me. It'd be like, my partner's dropped things before. It's fuck all. It means nothing. This video is actually worrying though, because like, it feels to me as though she has been that person on the end of the abuser who has been yelling at someone, right? And she's making this video as like cope to be like, well, look, if you're being yelled at, it is your fault. Like, Toby, you did drop the glass. Like, you shouldn't have been so careless. Obviously, yeah, he shouldn't be yelling at you, but there is reason for him to do so. But I don't know, man. Maybe there's some sort of point being made here that I don't understand, but it sounds pretty fucking crazy to me. Like, I do believe this is dangerous rhetoric for a supposed relationship TikToker to be spreading.
That is what you were doing. That is what you were doing. You need to either address those emotions or give up on the relationship. There's not really another choice. And there's no reason to say that anger's more abusive or less okay than sadness, right? Does that make sense? I really hope that does make sense. Like, you know, you need to feel angry too. Like, it will protect you. When things are hurting you and you need to stand up for yourself and there's like shame or just like social pressures in the way, anger is the thing that will push you past those barriers. Anger is the thing that will protect you. I promise you, you need to feel it sometimes. And I genuinely believe this pressure towards discouraging anger is oftentimes just a mechanism of allowing oppressors to oppress people, because if you're not angry, how are you gonna fucking fight your oppressors? How are you gonna change the world if you're not fucking angry about how fucked up it is right now? You should be angry.
Fucking really unnerving video, especially near to the end at that point. It's like anger in a community or in like a marginalized people is totally different to anger in a one-on-one relationship. But in all aspects of life, anger is like a fire. It can either heat your house up or burn your house down. Like, you need to be able to control that shit. You can't just be fucking yelling at people willy-nilly. When you can control it though, and when it is like a healthy amount of anger, then yeah, it can be a decent tool to sort of propel your life forwards, or, you know, achieve your ambitions maybe. You just can't let it take you over. It's a fireplace. Or you could maybe describe it as a potent spice, like cumin. A bit of cumin just makes the full madamas. It is the best dip in the world with a bit of cumin, but if you put too much, fucking horrid. It's like anger, that. Don't let it spoil the dish. Let it make it. Don't let it burn your house down. Let it heat it on a cold winter's day.
Hey, sweet pea. So one of the hardest parts of letting go of my ex is that I know that they're going to build up this story in their head about how terrible of a person I am and how I was the cause of all the problems in our relationship. And I don't know, when I spent so much time and effort trying to help them grow, and I really do think that their main problem is that they never examine how they're the cause of the problems in their life. You know, they always put it on something or someone else instead of examining what they did to cause their problems. But now they're going to turn around and turn me into the bad guy, you know, shirk responsibility once again, and that really hurts, because like, as much as it hurts to lose them and have them not support me, it hurts even more to feel like a failure again.
I want to hear the partner's perspective on all of this, to be honest with you. Like, when you're talking about how the partner is not going to accept responsibility and shift blame onto you, and then also say that you deserve to be held responsible if you're getting fucking abused. It's like, it doesn't paint the prettiest picture, in my opinion. I'm not making any accusations here regarding this relationship. The future ones, absolutely, but we have, you know, evidence of those ones. This one here is just a picture that looks a little bit shit. Like, they've dropped a bucket of brown paint on it.
I feel like I've spent my entire life trying to help the people around me grow and accept how they've been part of the damage around them. Like, they've been part of the problem, even the majority of the problem some of the time, or maybe even a lot of the time. I don't know. I'm not one to judge that necessarily. I know I could be better. I could always be better, but I really just don't like it when people demonize me to make themselves sit in this little stasis bubble where they don't have to grow at all and examine what they did to cause the problems in their life. It makes me so sad. It does.
Yeah, this really will not age well when you guys come to learn what kind of person Anastasia is.
Hey, sweet pea. So neither arguments nor criticism are inherently bad, and in fact, both of them are necessary parts of healthy relationships. You can't really assert your needs without arguing some of the time and criticizing some things. Like, an argument is just a disagreement that you have to come to some sort of conclusion about, some sort of compromise. If you dislike avocados, I like avocados, so we disagree about that. But that's fine. We can coexist perfectly fine, having different opinions about how delicious avocados are. But if we have to plan a dinner and have to decide if we're going to get avocados at the store, we need to come to some sort of conclusion. We need to have an argument about whether or not we're going to get avocados.
So I feel like this one's not too bad in terms of advice, but I also feel as though it's the most obvious fucking thing in the world. Like, anytime she actually tries to talk about something with like a slight bit of nuance, it's just insanely dangerous, in my opinion. But this bit of advice here, it's like, well, fucking yes. Do people think that everyone in relationships just agree with each other 100% of the time? Those relationships usually aren't the ones that last, actually, because it means that they're not being honest with each other. There's no way you can agree all the time. Anyone who's been alive for more than 2 days knows that. Here's another one that I feel as though is a little worrying.
Hey, sweet pea. So sometimes when I tell people I need a romantic relationship in order to feel fulfilled, they go, oh my gosh, you shouldn't need a romantic relationship. You should just want that. You should work on yourself until you don't need people anymore. But the reality is, a romantic relationship is like the main thing I want in life. You know, I want to find someone who's willing to spend their life with me so I can share my entire life with them and they can share their entire life with me. That's my main goal in life. So if I don't find the main thing I'm looking for, I'm not exactly going to feel fulfilled in life, am I? You know, does that make sense? And no, I'm not jumping into any old relationship just because I'm afraid to be alone. I'm very self-reliant, and I've been alone for quite a while, despite the fact that a lot of people are very interested in me. I'm still alone because I'm not just jumping into any relationship. That doesn't change the fact that I will never feel fulfilled unless I get the main thing I'm looking for, which happens to be a committed, loving, healthy, romantic relationship. And it's weird that you keep projecting that that's an unhealthy thing for me to want.
I guess it depends on the definition of need. Like, if you need a romantic relationship because you cannot pay your bills and you want a partner to sort of help you out with that, then yeah, it's not healthy because you are a lot more likely to just sort of jump in a relationship with any old arsehole who has money. But if your definition of need is like, I'm completely self-sustaining, I have everything that I possibly could need to live a comfortable life, but I just yearn for that sort of connection to be able to share my life with someone else, that's different, I feel. But either way, it's bullshit. Like, this is the type of person who will just jump into a relationship with any old fucker. Her first victim, which we will talk about later on in this video, was someone who they met on Instagram comments. She wanted a hug in a TikTok video, and someone responded being like, I can give you a hug, and then they met, and she got very angry because said person did not want to be in a relationship with them. So if that's all it takes to, you know, start a relationship with this lassie, then I don't really know what else constitutes jumping into relationships without, you know, thinking about it too much.
Hey gorgeous, so this is me letting you know that I appreciate it when you view me in a sexual way. I'm a sexual creature, and when you appreciate my body, I love that. So long as you can see me as a human outside of any sexual desirability I may or may not have. You absolutely have my permission to fantasize about me. You beautiful creature. Go have fun, yeah?
Could you fucking imagine if I made a video like this? I think I would lose 500,000 subscribers, and I'm only at 300. I would be the first channel to have negative subscribers. Got this great video here, by the way. I love you. Consent is hot. Bear that in mind, by the way. Consent being hot later on in the video. Bear that in mind. Okay, now, here's where the real sort of drama starts, right? It starts with her getting kicked out of her mother's house, which leads to her being homeless and sort of going from homeless to moving in with her partner in a caravan or something. It all makes sense when we get into it, but first, let's go over the details of why she was kicked out of said house.
I used to live with her, or I did up until today, but today she kicked me out because the house was too messy for her, and she has OCD that she's been ignoring for years, so any amount of messy is too messy for her. Any history of people living there within recent memory is too messy for her, and I, you know, live in the house. Not to mention, we were a little sad about our dog dying, so I got a little depressed and maybe didn't clean as much as I should have. Just to be clear, she was gone for like 4 or 5 months and came back entitled with a vengeance, like, this is my fucking house, and if you dare exist in it, I'ma fucking be a bitch about it. So my mother broke into my room to yell at me at 10 in the morning before I had woken up. And I'm a 25-year-old, I'm sexually active, there was a person in my bed at the time, and yet she still broke into my room to yell at me, so I was, needless to say, very, very upset, and I screamed at her to get out of my room, which is very reasonable under the circumstances, frankly, and I screamed at her until she got out of my room. She then immediately called the cops and said that I made her fear for her life.
Okay, first of all, why is she telling this story? She always does this, actually. She talks as though she's constantly reading a slam poem. Like, you're sat there like, oh, what's the rhyme gonna be? But there's never any rhyme. It's like she's just sort of speaking in prose, but poetic prose. In terms of this story in particular, I mean, if everything is as she says, then it's not exactly ideal, I suppose, but I highly doubt that everything is exactly as she is saying. You know, there are a lot of videos that we'll look at after this where she sort of retells. You know, she has a habit of sort of contradicting herself, which you will see in this video, and making things up and, you know, telling stories differently every time that she tells them in a way that sounds more convenient to her in that moment in time. So this one in particular, it's like she's sort of phrasing the mess as though it's not that really big a deal. It's whatever, right? But at the end of the day, you know, it is your mum's house. It is her house. And if the mess is fucking unbearable, then you are a 25-year-old and you should find your own place. Obviously, if the mess genuinely was like completely fine and there wasn't really anything going on, then kicking you out is a little scum. You know, from your mother for sure. I'm not really going to say anything decisive in terms of that whole thing because I don't know. But, you know, by the end of this whole series of events, I hope that you sort of understand Anastasia the same way that I do, which is extremely untrustworthy. And it brings a lot of the stuff that she says about anything into question, especially when other people are the villains in her story, because every time she has done that I can tell, she has been the actual villain. Which is a trend, by the way, in anyone that tells stories where they're never the villain. Like, if everyone in your life is the villain, is the person who is doing wrong, and the only common denominator in all those stories is that you are involved with all those people, maybe, just maybe, you are the one constant here that is doing wrong. Not to say that they're all completely innocent, but neither are you. I mean, it's like you say, to be fair, clearly you are responsible for being kicked out. So look within yourself and see what you've done wrong for your mum to flip out on you and kick you out like that. See how it doesn't really work? Because I'd be willing to bet anything that you would say that you're not responsible for getting kicked out or whatever. I think you'd say that it's all on her.
Which is ridiculous, frankly, unless you need to be in my room to live. I don't think I made you fear for your life. And frankly, if you break into my space, I don't feel bad about making you fear for your life. Do you know what happens when you corner an animal? Any animal. Yeah, like, I don't feel bad about protecting myself. Nor have I ever. You don't feel bad for making your mum fear for her life when she went into a room of her house. Like, yeah, the same way that a mother probably shouldn't kick out their kid even if they are 25 years old for seemingly no reason. A daughter also probably shouldn't feel fucking glee when their mum is fearing for their life at the hands of them. Have I ever? I actually have diagnosed CPTSD because my father was abusive. So people breaking into a space that I consider mine is not something that you can do without me going into a fucking fury, which she knows because she's my mother and she's been around me for years. So either she's intentionally ignoring my PTSD triggers, or she's so stupid that she refuses to understand that going into the room of a sexually active 25-year-old isn't okay. And neither of those things are cool. The thing that is the worst about this is that nobody believes me when I tell them that my mother is abusive and manipulative, right? They always doubt me. They always think that I'm the one being ridiculous. Like, they always believe me if I say my dad's abusive, but if I say my mom's abusive, they go, oh, you're just being ridiculous. And it took me so much longer to understand that she was being abusive because so many people were just minimizing my thoughts because they perceived me as AMAB for a long time, being mad at my mom, and now just because they perceive me being mad at my mom, and moms can't do anything bad, they're moms, they're amazing heroes. Like, fuck no, they're evil bastards a lot of the time. Just because she's a fucking white woman doesn't mean she's a good person. Like, people seem to think that I need to be grateful for her for taking care of me, but the only reason she ever took care of me is if it gave her some sort of control over me, and if I denied her that control, she immediately stopped taking care of me. Like now. So no, I don't need to be grateful for her means of controlling me. No, I don't. I mean, that all could be true. In terms of, like, you know, the mother being abusive or whatever, again, I'm not going to make any definitive statements there because I don't know what was going on in her life from childhood or, you know, up until 25, anything like that. For all I know, this mother could have absolutely been abusive, and if they were, then me sort of discounting this story as fake and, you know, a lie would be really rude. Now, it'd be an arsehole thing for me to do because I'm sure their feelings here are totally valid, and I'm sure maybe their mum isn't the best of fucking people. Who knows, right? Totally. I will say, though, it is definitely worth questioning, like, how much responsibility is there on your mother to take care of you when you are 25 years old and still living under her roof rent-free? That's not to say that she should completely fucking disown you and stop, you know, like almost as though you're not even there or you're not her daughter. But, you know, she can't
coddle you the same way that she would when you were a child. And I don't know if this is controversial at all, but unless you're helping out in that household, unless you're cleaning up every now and then, unless you're helping out with the rent, you sort of have to follow her rules. Like, if you're not playing any part in maintaining that household as a 25-year grown adult now, then I don't think you can just go around completely disregarding everything she says and not paying any respect in terms of like the rules that she has set out for that. Obviously, that is like, there's reason to that. Like, I don't mean to be unreasonable here. There is a limit to the rules that can be set by, you know, a decent person. And if she really is this abusive, manipulative arsehole, then none of what I'm saying really matters anyway, but it is just food for thought.
Hey, check out this flail I made. So it's got 9 strands with 3 blood knots on each strand, and then it has this monstrosity getting it down to 3 strands for a braid. Then it's wrapped around a hickory drumstick. It was really fun to tie. I wanted to make something piratey, and I did. I considered, like, tying metal strings.
So this is relatively near to the time where she got kicked out, and yeah, there's not really a huge mess there at all. Like, it's a tad messy, but not enough to kick your daughter out over. This one's a lot closer to her being kicked out. Yeah, a lot messier for sure, and if she is the one causing this mess purely and refusing to clean up after herself, and the mother is genuinely being, like, you know, completely clean, then yeah, you sort of need to grow the fuck up, and kicking you out isn't, you know, the most unreasonable thing in the world. Obviously, if what she claims is true and they were both contributing to the mess, then it's a different story. But if this is all her and she's refusing to fucking clean it, then yeah, you gotta get a grip. What is this video, by the way? Redone handle.
Hey, sweet pea, check out this whip I made. Isn't that cool? This one's not for use on humans because it's actually scary. Look, hand wrap handle, barrel lanyard, 4-strand braid, and then just 2 leaders tied onto the end of that. People keep asking me to show them how I make these things, but the problem with that is that I have no idea what they're gonna look like until they're already done. Like, I just make them up. So I've been thinking about showing you guys some, like, not fundamentals so that you can make them up. But that's a little difficult because I don't really know what to show you. But at some point...
Okay. I'm turning that video off because it feels motivated racially. That has triggered some deep within, like, instilled emotion out of me that I've never felt before. I can't even lie, like, my stomach has dropped. Like, I genuinely feel as though, like, a distant ancestor has heard the fucking cracks of a whip by a white person and gone, Jesse, run! You need to fucking run! You guys think I'm being dramatic for comedic purposes. I'm not even joking you. Like, fuck me. I'm in fight or flight mode.
If you're a parent and your kids hate you, it is your fault entirely. Kids are pure empty vessels, and if you made them hate you, it's because you raised them so improperly, or you're such a bad person that they do hate you. It's your fault, I promise you.
Again, this trend of sort of shifting the blame, like, no matter what happens, if she hates someone, it's never her Again, what did you say earlier about you having to accept that you are responsible for what like other people do to you, no matter how abusive it is or what emotion is being used to abuse you? But then now you're sat here going, no, it's all your fault actually, not me at all. Seems as though you only need to hold yourself responsible when it's someone that you are affecting and not the other way around.
I got kicked out of my house without 30 days notice, and the way my mother did that is by going to a judge and saying that she was afraid for her life. And apparently, if you're just enough of a Karen, it doesn't matter if there's, like, a reason for you to be afraid, you just have to say you're afraid. Would you like to see a cop threaten my life to my partner?
Is there any weapons in that room?
Nothing.
I don't want to have to shoot anybody, but I will if I have to.
That's fucking insane, to be fair to her. What the fuck is going on in America, like? That's so fucked up from the officer.
Not even, like, knocking or anything? Because my mother gave them permission, so they didn't need a warrant or anything at all. They just walked in, came up the stairs, pointed a gun at me, and told me I had 20 minutes to pack up everything I needed to go, and that I was never allowed to come back to my house, or at least not until I fought the restraining order in court. So now I have to go to court to fight a restraining order filled with lies about me, which is absolutely infuriating, because I don't even want to talk to my mom anymore. She's fully dead to me. I'm going no contact after this. She's abusive, and she has ruined my entire childhood, and I'm not going to let her ruin my entire life. But I apparently still have to go to court and say that I want to be around her for some reason. Well, for the reason of just picking up my shit from the house that I used to live in.
I don't know how true this is, though. Like, you definitely would, at the very least, should be allowed to get your stuff from your house. Like, I have heard stories from Americans who have been kicked out of their parents' house. And, like, you know, the police get involved and everything like that. And the parents have gone, well, you can't fucking get anything from her. And the police are, well, it is their house. So as the kid, you can't go into the house if they don't want you to. And then the kid will go like, okay, but I need to get my wallet with my ID and stuff, and the parent will go like, no, it's my house, you can't, and the police officer will go like, no, they can get that is theirs, they need that. So I don't know how true everything being said here is. I mean, that video definitely does make me believe her a little bit more, I can't fucking lie, like, that is in fucking policeman. crazy. What the fuck did the mum tell them on the phone? See, this adds a lot of validity, to be fair, because whatever the fuck the mum said to them, for them to come in that hostile, or maybe they're just fucking insane. Like, I genuinely have no idea here. That's why I'm not gonna make any substantive claims.
I hope you're having a lovely evening. I am safe. I am a little bit north of Coos Bay in Oregon. I drove all day. I think I kind of like the escape of driving. We'll have to make sure not to get too into that. I don't know if it's necessarily always the most productive thing to do. But I need to get over to Eugene, I think, because the thing that's most on my mind right now is I can't get my phone to charge properly. I think my car might need a new battery, and I need my phone to be charged because, well, TikTok and also accessing my bank accounts and contacting people is just like a whole can of worms I do not want to open, like not being able to charge my phone. Plus, if it is my battery that is the problem in my car, then I might end up on the side of the road with my car not working and my phone uncharged, and that would be, well, dangerous and uncomfortable, and I would very much not like to be in that situation. So we're going to drive over to Eugene and try and solve this problem as quick as possible. I love you. I hope you're having a wonderful, safe day. I am doing good.
Okay, so this is the sort of start of the homeless arc. Obviously, they've been kicked out now, they've got this restraining order, they don't even want to see their fucking mum anyway, which is probably, to be honest, totally reasonable. Seems as though they're both very troubled people. Here's a wee update, though, on her living situation. She gets, like, a cheap motel room for a little bit, but it was at this time where, obviously, because of the lack of home that they have, they started visiting their partner very often, because their partner, obviously, has a place to stay. And this is where the infamous dog comes over every now and then to say hello. And, I think this is the first instance where she does some undeniably fucking manic and insane behaviors.
Hey, sweet pea. So I'm not exactly sure what I'm supposed to do if a dog keeps choosing to come over here rather than be at its owners, because this dog, this big guy right here, he really seems to love it here. Now, I can try and get him back to the neighbor's house where he comes from, but he certainly doesn't like going there. Seems a bit skinny, although he responds better to praise than food, which is, well, I don't know. Makes me like him, but is worrisome. If the owners come over here and try and take him back, well, he doesn't want to go with them. He seems to really dislike them, which I don't like. And I'm not trying to steal anyone's dog, nor am I trying to start problems with my neighbors. But I love this little guy, and I would not like to see him hurt, and he seems to like it. What do you think?
For one, the dog doesn't look that skinny. Fair enough, it might not look the healthiest of weights, but it's not, you know, fucking famished or anything like that. Secondly, though, the door is fucking closed. How is the dog going to escape? Like, there is no escape route for him or her. But shit goes south here very, very quickly, because we learn that she is one of those people who thinks they have this special connection with nature and wildlife and animals, and that anyone else who surrounds this animal is just scaring them and doesn't know what they're doing. She, and she alone, knows how to feed and talk and act around dogs and sheep and cattle.
I never really got closure with any of my dogs. Like, the first dog I lost was named Flash, and he assaulted a child. You know, aggressive dog, well, reactive dog, and that was a very traumatic memory for me. But he also had to be put down, and nobody really warned me that that was what was going to happen, and I didn't get to say goodbye to him. So I didn't really get any closure there. And then after that, our family dog, Shadow, who was like my only emotional support at the time, because he was the only one who I felt like I could be fully honest with, ended up just like wandering off and dying or being put down. I'm not sure, but he just disappeared one day, and then later my dad told me that he died probably, and I never got closure there either. Then we had Dakota, which was my sister's dog, but then my sister like ended up not taking care of him, so he became my dad's dog. But my dad's super unempathetic, so I was playing with him most of the time. This is when I was in high school, so he was kind of my dog, but not really my dog. But then when I left my dad's house, because my dad was abusive, so I left there in a hurry, I never really got to say goodbye to that dog, and I would have liked to. I loved that dog. I've never really gotten closure with any of the important dogs in my life, and recently there was this dog that kept coming over to the property I was staying at and saying hi and loving on me, and it was this beautiful, sweet dog with snowy white eyes and, you know, like gray on brown fur. It was gorgeous, and it just wanted love, and I love that dog. And I have been having a hard time feeling any sort of emotional attachment to dogs for many years, because I just get hurt when I do get attached to dogs. And this was like the first dog where I was like
maybe I will get attached to it. And I was trying not to get attached to it because it wasn't my dog, it was the neighbor's dog. But the neighbor seemed to be neglecting it. Then I was led to believe that, oh, I might be able to adopt the dog because apparently the neighbor was giving it away. And I got really excited. I named the dog. I was already, really happy to have the dog around, but now I was unashamed of being really happy, so I let myself feel that and got my hopes up. And then they lied to me again and told me that, oh, the owner was threatened by the guy who was giving the dog away and didn't want to have that dog here because it would just cause too many problems. But actually what was happening was the landlord who said that I was not allowed to have the dog was stealing the dog. The dog was never being given away, and he didn't want me to have it because that would cause complications. So I didn't get the dog, and he didn't tell me that, right? Because if he had told me that, I might have been able to work around that in some way, I mean, if I was going to get kicked off this property, I might as well take the dog with me, but no, instead they took it somewhere else, and they're like, oh, well, we can't even give you their number or anything because the dog's better there. It's like, well, the dog knows me, the dog loved me.
The dog didn't know you, the dog didn't love you. This video is posted on the 11th of November, the last one was on like the 4th or the 5th or the 6th even, so it's like a week max that the dog's known you and you fed him every now and then. You could just literally pair him up with any old fucker. They can feed him a couple times and he'll be just as attached to them as he was to you. It wasn't your dog. The dog is now being taken and it was rehomed to a loving family, by the way. I'll tell you how I know this later because it has been all confirmed. A loving family with decent living conditions and everything is totally fine. And you're sat there complaining about it because the dog didn't end up with you when you are homeless. It's like, how much can you actually love this dog when you are insisting so brazenly that you should be the one to keep it after feeding it like, what, 5 fucking times and claiming that it's completely infatuated and loves you? It doesn't love. I'm sorry, it's a fucking dog. They love everyone most of the time. Like, this is pure narcissistic insanity from you. You met the dog, you petted it for a couple days, just deal with the fact that someone else who is in a better place can have it. If you really love the dog, then you'd be happy knowing that it was in a good place. It's just one of them situations where, I get it, I understand why you're sad, it's totally fine to be sad or disappointed, but to this level, you gotta get a grip, man. You don't even know the half of what Anastasia did, by the way, when she found out she wasn't getting this dog. We'll get into that now.
Hey, sweet pea. So I've had a bit of a rough day. Rough couple days, actually. Doesn't seem like I can get anything that I'd like. Well, I don't know. Maybe I made a deal with the devil at some point, because I'm successful in a lot of ways recently, and deeply unhappy. Like, I am so unsupported emotionally in my personal life right now. I was showing a dog earlier in a video that, like, my neighbor wasn't taking care of and kept coming over here. I was then talking to some people around here, and I found out that, like, that dog was up for rehoming. Like, they were looking to rehome that dog, and I got my hopes about adopting that dog, because it would be really nice to have something there for me right now. I got kicked out of my house. I'm not doing good. I'm not doing good. I'm not doing good. But my landlord, not gonna let me have that dog specifically because the person who's trying to rehome that dog threatened his life, and, he's gonna take the loudest one's side because that's the way it always works. And everyone who lives here is cool with having the dog here. Some of them even want the dog here, like Steve, this other guy who lives here, wanted the dog here, and the landlord told him no too. The landlord doesn't even live here.
This video was a day after that dog video initially. Or on the same day, even. She said she showed the vid earlier. Like, what, in that day or the day before? It definitely wasn't a long... It's even shorter the amount of time. It wasn't even a week. It was like 3 days max. Anyway, here's where shit gets, crazy. Here's where you start to understand why I am so unsympathetic towards her. Have a look at this reaction here.
I'm back at the place I used to live, and someone here is trying to gaslight me into thinking that the problem with why I lost the dog was that I didn't make it clear enough that I wanted Apollo in my life. But I got kicked out of my home because I made such a big fucking fuss about wanting my goddamn dog back because they stole my motherfucking dog from me.
So you need to stop referring to the dog as your dog. It wasn't your dog. It was never your dog. It will never be your dog. You need to be a fucking adult and deal with it. I've never seen someone so angry that a dog that supposedly they loved so much is with a loving family who feeds them nicely and treats them well. Before we watch the rest of this video, because they crash out wildly, let's have a look at what their partner said about what actually happened here. So we're getting like a third party describe what happened in the third person almost, so it's going to be a lot more of an honest recounting of how Lexity reacted to this whole fucking dog debacle. I can't find the original video, so just to give credit, I am using Delilah's coverage of Lexity, or Anastasia, whatever you want to call her. So go show Delilah some love. They're a great YouTuber. They make great videos. If you like these ones, then I'm sure you'll love hers as well.
For several times in like the past couple months, a dog has been coming over to the property. This dog has been staying at our other landmate's house occasionally when he can't bring him back over. Occasionally when he did come over and I was outside, I would take him back. Anya, with very little interaction with this dog, would be like, he's really pretty, he doesn't look like he's well loved, can we keep him? I was like, the next time he comes over, when they come to get him, we can ask. He came over, we were hanging out with him, our other landmate came over, she told me that he needs more love, she wants to rehome him for them. I said, oh, Anya wants him. She said, cool, if he's going to be here, he's probably going to need to be tied up, because she didn't know Anya was living with me at that time. I said, okay. I went over to Anya. I said, hey, I think they want to rehome the dog. She said, okay. We left and we went dog food. We didn't communicate to Gio that we were for sure going to take the dog that day. We got back. I went to my landlord. I said, hey, Anya's living here now. I wanted to let you know. He said, okay, cool. I heard you had an interaction with the dog. And I said, yeah. He said, I'm bringing the dog to the shelter. And I said, okay, Anya wanted to take him in. He said, not allowed. The neighbor is crazy. And I don't want the dog here because I don't want to cause issues. I said, okay, that makes sense. The guy seems like a dick. So I went over to Anya. I said, hey, can't have the dog here. You're allowed to live here. They're not going to raise our rent, but they can't have the dog here. She got upset. I said, it is what it is. Like, we can't change it. That's it. The dog was rehomed. I woke up at 4 a.m. to her screaming at me, telling me I needed to fix the problem, that we needed to be homeless for this dog. Like, how were we going to be homeless? I've been homeless. I didn't want to do it again. I didn't want to lose my safety and security. And, like, we were living in a trailer that has no windows. Like, we can't leave the trailer in the woods. What are we going to do? So I told her, no, I don't want to do that. You need to leave because you're screaming at me. And that's what happened. And the dog got rehomed to a really nice family. If anyone has claim over the dog, it's the other person at our property that actually spent more time with the dog. That dog was more often at his door than ours.
Fucking mental. Like, nutcase. Complete nutcase. Lexity is. Anastasia, whatever. Anya, they call her here. The person telling this story, like the person on screen right now, that is what you call a normal, adjusted, well-behaving fucking adult who's realized, oh, shit, you know, we wanted the dog, it sucks we can't have him, but it is what it is. It's like, that is such an admirable and normal and just, like, nice way of viewing the world. It is what it is. We wanted it, we can't have it because it's gonna cause issues. I don't want to lose my home over this fucking dog that we've known for 2 days, that realistically, in this fucking trailer park or whatever, isn't even the closest with us, so we'll leave it as it is. So much that we didn't know as well. Apparently, their trailer isn't even the one that the dog went to most of the time. It was one of the other fucking trailers with some bloke who apparently has much more of a connection with the dog. Notice how they didn't freak the fuck out and start screaming at 4 a.m. causing a fucking scene when the dog got rehomed to a loving family who probably wasn't homeless. Nothing wrong with being homeless, but you just probably shouldn't get a dog. It's one thing if you have a dog and then you become homeless, but you shouldn't get one whilst you're homeless. And you definitely should not be going homeless for the sake of a dog you've known for about 2 fucking days. And you definitely should not be making your partner go homeless as well for the dog that you claim is yours. I'm weak. I'm fucking weak explaining this all. I'm sure you understand what's wrong with this situation. I don't need to line it out for you. Bottom line is, long story short, Anastasia is fucking insane and incredibly possessive over this dog when realistically, she has no right to be. I've said it before, I'll say it again. She needs to get a fucking grip. She wouldn't agree though. This is what she has to say about it all.
They promised me I could have a dog because this dog kept following me around and asking for love. And you know what, honestly?
But that's what dogs do. Like, that is just what dogs do. It's not your dog. It's fucking insane that she genuinely feels this way. They stole my motherfucking dog! Sorry, lass. You know, you're clearly hurt, but your feelings are invalid, unfortunately. What is this about intimidating energy that she's about to say?
Maybe it's some sort of intimidating energy I have, which I can understand, but I have to initiate all the relationships in my life. You know, that's fine. That's fucking fine. But this dog for once actually fucking wanted me. It was fucking lovely to feel wanted for once. It was amazing. They stole that from me. I went to the store after they said that this dog was gonna be rehomed and got my hopes up, freaking picked out a name to get shit for the dog. Supplies. You know? Came back, dog was nowhere to be seen. They wouldn't let me have the dog back. You know? I fucking spent all night fighting with my partner because they wouldn't let me be mad at the landlord even. They wouldn't even let me be mad about not being allowed to have my fucking dog.
It's probably because it's 4 a.m. and they're trying to fucking sleep and you're waking them up over nothing. The dog's been rehomed at this point. Imagine this being your partner, man. It would be infuriating. Like, you couldn't fucking live with yourself. You definitely couldn't live with them. But this isn't your trailer. You're staying with them. The dog didn't even like you that much, and the reason it did like you to the extent that it did is because it's a friendly dog, and all dogs realistically will do that. The dog loves you the same way that an AI girlfriend loves you. They're basically programmed to like you. Obviously, not really, but you know what I mean. Like, they're friendly creatures. Well, a lot of them. I mean, you know what I mean. I don't need to clarify to you. I'm sure we can all agree that this is just fucking unhinged. And you can see how angry they're getting here. Like, the genuine fucking irateness in their eyes, in their voice. Like, "Rah! Rah!" You can definitely imagine the 4 a.m. scene that her partner had to wake up to, and all the fucking screaming. It must have been horrific.
So, like, I spent all night fucking working with that, and eventually I stopped fighting with that and went to sleep, and I woke up and I was fucking really mad about not having my goddamn dog! And that's why I got fucking kicked out! Because I screamed like this about wanting my dog back! You know what? And I'm not fucking sorry! I want my goddamn dog!
Yeah, this is like a totally reasonable reason to kick you out of the fucking trailer. If you're reacting this way over a dog that wasn't yours and you have no right to think is yours, then yeah, I don't want to be with you anymore. Get out of my house. Never contact me again. You're fucking unhinged. And this is the thing, like, when she is sat here sort of talking about how she is not to blame for any of this. She's being kicked out for completely unjust reasons. That is why I sort of question just how culpable the mother is for her getting kicked out of the previous household with her mum as well. Like, if she can turn a story so obviously where she is the one at fault completely and utterly into one where she is the one and only victim and she wasn't doing anything wrong and her partner was the one being the dick when they were being so undeservingly reasonable, then what can't she lie about?
So I've noticed abusers have this tendency to shirk responsibility by placing the blame upon you for how upset you get when they abuse you.
Ah, so you mean the exact thing that you were doing at the start of this video, because you were saying that if you are being abused, you need to accept that you are partially responsible for it. But then all of a sudden, when people do that exact thing to you, it's like a horrible victim-blamey thing that no one should ever do. Interesting, that.
Stole my dog. And
someone stole my dog. Fuck me. This is like crazy. This is genuinely fucking insane.
Not only are they blaming me for being too upset about them stealing my dog, but they're also saying that the problem is I didn't communicate. I wanted Apollo in my life, but it cannot be both. It literally cannot be both. Either I am too upset, or I didn't communicate. I wanted Apollo in my life. Or there's some magical fucking sweet spot that everyone has to hit, where they're the right amount of upset to communicate that they want something, but not too upset to communicate that it's too important for it to be given to them. Like, fuck you. Apollo is important to me. You stole my goddamn dog. And if you wouldn't be this upset about someone stealing your dog, you don't fucking love your dog. And if you can't listen to someone because of the way they say something, you're a bad person who just wants to do whatever the fuck you want. Because someone's tone can always be slightly fucking wrong. How about you have a fucking little bit of fucking empathy and realize that maybe I'm goddamn angry because you fucked up. Maybe I'm angry because you did a really bad thing. And when you do bad things to people, they tend to not take them well. And making you feel comfy and cozy is not exactly my highest fucking priority right now. So as much as I'd love to communicate everything in a perfectly healthy way, I'm not super concerned with making you feel fucking great after you stole my goddamn dog. Maybe that should be the issue.
Yeah, sorry, Anastasia, but you're a total unhinged fucking freakish arsehole. Like, this is insane. I keep using the same words here because there aren't enough words in the fucking English language, in the lexicon, to describe how utterly enigmatic they are being. It's disgusting. No, it really is. It is disgusting. Just like, for her to act like this is grim. Like, there isn't really any justifying it. They're completely delusional. Completely delusional. And it's come at the expense of pretty much everyone in their life, including their partner, who was letting them live with her. And it's this inability to see at any point where they fucked up, where they have maybe got a bit too over-hopeful, where they didn't really have their expectations set realistically. Completely unable to accept responsibility in a scenario where responsibility does genuinely need to be accepted. And that's why you can't fucking trust her. Because when someone is this delusionally angry in a situation where they have fucked up royally, I think it brings not only a lot of what they say into question, but also those sort of relationship advicey videos about how people need to take the blame if they're being abused. Those look a lot worse now that we have this sort of character study worthy information on her. Like the way she was treating her partner who was allowing her to live with them after she got kicked out, the way that she had the fucking audacity to treat her in her house is disgusting. And she can't even fathom that she did anything wrong there. So yeah, fuck her, man.
So everybody who's hoping there's going to be a happy ending to the story about my dog getting stolen, I'm afraid to let you down, but there's definitely not going to be a happy ending to that story. The person who stole my dog, I'm not going to give the dog back. Everyone at the property refuses to acknowledge that I have any right to claim that as my dog.
Because you don't have any right to claim it as your dog. Both morally, legally, anything. It's not your dog. I mean, look at where you live right now. You live in a car. Like, why are you so... The dog will be living in a car. It's not nice, man. I feel like I have to explain it to you like a 6-year-old. There's just nothing about your mindset here that is justifiable or reasonable in any way, shape, or form.
The fact that I asked about the dog multiple times, they said I could have the dog. They were looking for a home for the dog. I was a loving home for the dog that the dog knew. Like, the dog knew me. And
you're not a loving home for the dog because you don't even have a fucking home. Again, nothing wrong with that, but let's call it as it is here. Look at where you are. Look at where you live.
Coming over to where I lived to say hi to me and refused to go back home, where I was its home, but I have no ownership.
Yeah, because you kept closing the fucking door. The dog was more interested. The dog went over to one of your other neighbors way more often than they went over to you. So why do you feel as though you have the right to feel this special connection with them that warrants you having to keep it?
And they say, oh, well, other people at the property had ownership over the dog, except for the fact that they didn't claim ownership over the dog. They didn't name the dog. They didn't spend a bunch of money on supplies for taking care of the dog. The dog was just at the property, at my house, outside of my bedroom.
It wasn't even your house or your bedroom, it was your partner's. I think they have a real issue with claiming things as their own when they have no right to. If it was your house, you couldn't have got kicked out of it.
It was my dog! Okay? Just because you can't handle the idea that you stole someone's dog because you're a dog person, and that's a terrible thing to do, doesn't mean you didn't fucking steal my dog. You stole my fucking dog. You stole my dog. And yeah, I know that would make you feel like a terrible person. You are a terrible person. But the problem is I don't really know what to do from here.
They're a landlord. They probably wouldn't give a fuck anyway, to be fair.
I consider doxing the person who stole my dog,
Whoa! This just gets the twists and turns are unpredictable and confusing.
Name and address and everything, but I really just think that would lead to violence and not a solution. I don't think they could get my dog back, and I don't want...
This astute observation there, to be fair. Oh, maybe leaking their name and address would lead to problems. Well... At least you're not completely fucking brain dead. That would have been really bad.
People to just get hurt for no reason. I considered it if it would get my dog back, but it wouldn't, because the person who stole my dog doesn't have the dog anymore, and I don't know where the people who have the dog are, but frankly, they didn't steal my dog. They just got a fucking lovely, sweet dog in their lives, and now Apollo's been there for a fucking couple days, like a while, more than a couple days, like a couple weeks, 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks, but still, he's not fucking Apollo anymore, He's whoever they named him. And yeah, I only had him for a couple days, for a few weeks, but he was coming around for a while. And you know what? If you had a baby for 3 days and it was kidnapped...
No, don't even go there. Don't even fucking go there. You are just so... I don't know what words to use. Dumb. Dumb's a bit of a dumb word, to be fair. But they are acting dumb. Just a bad person. I feel like Rowley in Diary of a Wimpy Kid. You're a bad person. Don't come to my house. Just that realization of oh my, holy, who the fuck are you? You suck. And it's even worse when videos like this start popping up, by the way.
So dogs are opportunistic omnivores, which means they eat pretty much any food they can get their hands on, including rotting fruit, and alcohol is naturally occurring in rotting fruit, which means dogs definitely are exposed to alcohol in the wild on a regular basis. They absolutely can consent to drinking alcohol, and a lot of dogs even very much like alcohol. If they go out and find rotting fruit and eat that because they enjoy alcohol, that's them consenting to drinking alcohol. And if you spill an alcoholic beverage and a dog laps up that alcoholic beverage, regardless of if humans are trying to get that dog to do that, and even perhaps in spite of humans trying to stop that dog from drinking that beer that you've spilled.
Yeah, I mean, need to remind you, if there wasn't already enough reason for them to not be able to have ownership over this fucking dog, then there you have it, I guess. Dogs eating rotting fruit in the wild cannot be equated to them having a fucking pint of Guinness. There's alcohol in toothpaste as well. Does that mean that my 2-year-old niece is able to go pub on Sunday? Does that mean that every Muslim who doesn't drink is now consenting to drinking alcohol because they brush their teeth? But that's not even the point here. The point, yes, the dog is technically consenting to drinking alcohol because it is trying to drink the alcohol, but a child can technically consent to, you know, adult activities. They can say, yes, I would like to partake in this activity, but that doesn't mean that they can consent to it, if that makes sense. Of course it makes sense. You're not a fucking creep. It's the same thing with dogs and alcohol. Like, yeah, they can drink it. They can consent to it. But if you're a responsible dog owner in any way, shape, or form, you're not gonna fucking let them drink the alcohol because they will die. I'm sure if you put a bar of chocolate in front of the dog, it'd probably eat that as well. It doesn't mean that you should do it. Prince, every time I get ice cream out, my cat Prince, I'll get him out now, because he's meowing like a motherfucker. Every time I get a pint of ice cream out, I had to lower my voice now because I don't want to hurt him. But every time I get a pint of ice cream out, Prince begs for it. He laps it up. He loves that shit. But I can't give it to him because if I give Prince ice cream, he will shit himself. He'll have awful diarrhea all over me and all over the house and probably die at an earlier age because of his lactose intolerance. It's not a good thing. So as much as he can consent to it, it doesn't really fucking matter. By the way, PSA, don't feed your dogs fucking alcohol.
Is alcohol bad for dogs? Yes, absolutely. It's also bad for humans and pretty much every other animal. That doesn't mean that dogs are incapable of choosing to drink alcohol. A lot of them actually quite like it and will seek it out on purpose. Does that mean you should give your dog alcohol? Not if you care about your dog and want it to be healthy, but you also shouldn't give yourself alcohol if you care about yourself and want you to be healthy. Yes? Yes. And no, dogs can't consent when humans are involved because there's inherently a power dynamic between dogs and humans that makes a human giving a dog something coercive. But dogs can consent to making dangerous choices when humans aren't there, and they do regularly. And if you have a problem with that, that's because you're infantilizing dogs. They are animals, adult animals that can make choices.
What are the points being made here? Infantilizing dogs, yes, because they have the mindset of fucking infants. They're not gonna sit there and do taxes or discuss quantum physics. They are infants. Also, I don't understand the whole point with the alcohol. It's like, should you feed your dog alcohol? No, not if you care about their health, but you shouldn't feed yourself alcohol if you care about your health. So are you saying that, like, because I drink alcohol, it's okay for the dog to drink it as well? Because I do care about my fitness and health, but I also enjoy a pint of Guinness every now and then. It's being phrased here as though we can give alcohol to a dog as like a treat, or like instead of like a bonia or a dog treat, we can just give him a shot of vodka or something. A little bit of sake with their fish fingers. I just don't think there was any need for this video to be made, because you wanting so incessantly to make this point that dogs can consent to drinking alcohol, once again, does not paint a pretty picture. Especially when all 3 of your childhood dogs died early.
I also have unconventional beliefs, like I think dogs can consent to drinking alcohol too, or consent to doing a whole bunch of things that people don't think they can, like, you know, dangerous things mostly. Like, I don't know, dogs are like able to like choose their own lives. If they want to do something dangerous, that's their life, you know? You can't give a dog alcohol? Yeah, you can, actually. You totally can.
You can't legally, surely. That counts as animal abuse because it's fucking horrible for the dog. It's like, I can go outside and punch the nearest bloke I can find in the dick. I can do that. But when someone says that I can't do that, I know what they mean by that. And so do you, and so does anyone looking at this in good faith. When someone says you can't feed your dog alcohol, your response should be, fair enough. Not, well, actually, technically, well, maybe, because it sounds like at that point you're trying to justify giving the dog alcohol. I don't understand why this is a hill that you're so willing to die on.
Oh, you're talking about, why would you think you can't?
Yeah, dogs love beer. Dogs love beer.
Do they? Do dogs love beer? I wouldn't know because I'm not a fucking freak. I'm getting mixed answers. I guess maybe some might enjoy it slightly, but they're not gonna fucking down a pint, are they? I would suspect that most dogs probably wouldn't even like beer. How do you know that they like it? What have you been doing to your dogs? Like, the fact you're saying it with so much confidence honestly worries me.
Please don't give dogs alcohol. Why? Because you don't want them to enjoy their lives?
What? Okay, you're a sick fucking freak. Thank fuck you didn't get this dog, by the way. When you said you bought it supplies, what exactly did you mean by that? A bottle of Glens? Some fucking Jack Daniels? Are those the supplies that you're talking about?
They can consent to it. Like, you can, but they don't really understand it. You know who else doesn't? 21-year-olds. Or 22-year-olds. You know who else doesn't, Antique Strawberry? Anybody who hasn't drunk alcohol before. It's poison for humans, it's poison for pets. Yeah, I know, but humans get to choose theirs. And humans get to choose it if they want to. Hey, you give horses beer? Of course you do. Example, Brian the dog from Family Guy? Yeah, exactly. Dogs can't speak? I don't care. Dogs don't need to speak to be able to consent to drinking beer. You put the beer on the ground and the dog drinks the beer. The dog consented to drinking the beer. I didn't make the dog drink the beer. I spilled the beer. Hell. If chocolate, that is a fucking false equivalency. Like, that's not how any class of drugs work. Go learn any pharmacology. Like chocolate kills dogs because they lack the ability to process theobromine, so large amounts of theobromine build up in their system and cause them to have a hypertensive crisis.
No, it is present in the case of alcohol. It is. Dogs cannot drink alcohol because they are small. In the same way they cannot eat chocolate because they are small. In the same way they can't, they can't eat sodium, large amounts of sodium because they are small. Horses probably have a better time drinking alcohol because they're so big. Doesn't mean you should feed your horse alcohol, by the way, just to be clear. I'm just saying that they probably have an easier time consuming it. Pour alcohol in a fish tank, oh, they're fucked.
No, I wouldn't give a dog chocolate or an onion. Do you understand how catastrophically different that is? Also, do you understand that dogs don't actually choose to drink themselves to death? And the world kept spinning, and it did.
I mean, the weirdest part to me is that, she's so actively trying to fucking prove this point. It's like, why do you care so much about proving people wrong in terms of them saying that dogs can't consent to drinking alcohol? Why do you care so much? It's very worrying. And the fact that you know so confidently that they will enjoy it, again, it fucking paints a bad picture. Anyway, let's have a look at her wish list, because she had a wish list while she was homeless. Bear in mind, this is a wish list of things that she is asking to be donated to her because of her homelessness. So you're thinking, right, it's fair enough, maybe some fur, keep her warm or whatever, a camera, maybe to make some money filming the vlogs, I guess. A little bit excessive for homelessness, maybe you'd want something a bit more essential, but fine, you can excuse it a little bit. Music, I suppose they like to express themselves musically, but those are fucking expensive, like. And here's where shit gets crazy. These are gonna have to be blurred, like spreader bar, BDSM, creature cocks. You've got all this sex toys stuff, you got this fucking lube over here, and then you've just got massive fucking cocks. This one's $100. You can get a dick for $100. I think this is a penis pump over here as well. I've seen one of them used in passing, by the way. It was fucking horrific. It was terrifying, but also oddly hypnotic. You got like cock rings and chastity cages and strokers and shit. It's like, what is going on here? You're homeless. This is not necessary for someone who is homeless. This is the last video that they posted last year, and there was like a big hiatus after this video.
I'm living out of a Jetta, which is like a tiny car, so it's not exactly super comfortable because I have to figure out where I'm going to sleep every night, which is very stressful and doesn't leave me a lot of free time to do anything else, like make content. So if you'd like to help me make content, I'm trying to afford a van, and you could go over to a GoFundMe I've started and give me a couple dollars so that I could afford a van more easily. I've set the GoFundMe at $15,000, which is a lot of money, but there's a lot of people following me now, so maybe that's not too big of a dream, and I want to apologize for dreaming big. Regardless of if you can't give or don't want to give, I love you still.
The reason I want to show this is how fucking insane the caption is. I figured I should post something here. The goal was raised to 30K because people have been incredibly generous, and I'm unbelievably thankful. Who the fuck are these people donating tens of thousands of dollars to this lassie? Like, who are these crazy people, man? I mean, good for her, I guess. It's just, I really do wish that she was actually doing, good things, or it was going to someone who was a decent person. Because again, what we've gone over so far really is nothing, by the way. Like, it gets so much worse. So this is the start of an abusive situation between her and another girl named Marcella. Remember earlier when I said that she put a video asking for a hug and someone responded? This is that situation. So here is the initial video.
Sometimes when people ask you to hang out, it's because they fucking need someone, and I have been alone for so goddamn long, everybody just fucking stares at me, and most people don't like me because I'm trans and punk, and nobody fucking wants to be around me. I need someone in my life who will just spend fucking 10 minutes to give me a hug. Ever! God damn. I am so, I can't do this. I can't do this.
And you can see the caption there. If you're in Southern Oregon and will give me a hug right now, hit me up. I will drive to you. I feel fucking cursed. Somebody please show up to me. Incredibly strange parasocial behavior. You do not talk to your followers like that. Like, if I did something like this, I would rightfully be cancelled like that. If I was like, hey, people of Glasgow, I will drive to you. Give me your address. I just want a hug. That's fucked up, man. You cannot do that to your fans or viewers. I don't like calling you fans. It's weird. And you can see in the responses here, by the way, maybe don't manipulate and hit women. You might have had better luck making friends. I hope this helped. Hey, so maybe it's not because you're trans and it's actually because you like to assault pregnant women. Hope this helps. So obviously, this is all in reference to the thing that I mentioned at the start of this video, to where Lexity, Anastasia, whatever you want to call them, was caught hitting a pregnant woman. Like, straight up just assault of a pregnant woman. And that is something we will get into, don't you worry, but there's just so much to talk about regarding this person. But either way, that was all, like, those comments are from a week ago. The video was 48 weeks ago, so their reputation was nowhere near as in tatters as it is now. As much as the dog thing might not have been great for her, not many people really knew about it. They hadn't seen the video from her ex-partner, so she was able to manipulate the story and, you know, act as though she was the good guy like she did in so many other situations, including the one that we're about to talk about. So Marcella responded saying that, you know, she'd be willing to give her a hug, to which she responded with this video.
So I found a friend to give me a hug and I'm having a lovely night. People often ask me how I remember all of the things I remember, and I don't memorize them. The way I remember them is I build a story that has each of the pieces involved in it, and when I learn a new thing, I don't memorize the new thing. I fit it into the story and the way it affects the other parts of the story and the way the other parts of the story affect it. If you tie things you learn to a story about how the universe works and then you just remember the story, you don't actually have to memorize any of the pieces.
Ah, he's on my shoulder now. So I'm not really fussed about the waffle that she's going on about in that video there, but what's important is the background. Ah, fuck me. Prince, man. We need to clean his claws up. But what is of note in this video is the background, right? They're no longer in their house. They have a home despite them, you know, being homeless at this point. Or maybe this was just after they found a place to live. I'm not too sure what the timeline is, but either way, they're not in their place of residence. They are now at Marcella's house, the person who was willing to give them a hug. However, in classic lesbian fashion, this date lasted 4 days. Which, by the way, I feel as though I am, because my girlfriend's bisexual, and they're like more weighted towards women than men. They'd like exclusively dated women before they dated me. And when we met, I got the authentic lesbian experience, because our first date was fucking like, it was like a week long. So all the lesbians watching this channel, I feel you. And I enjoy your dating strategy, as long as it's with the right person, because otherwise I assume it's a fucking nightmare. You know, you don't waste time, and I respect that. Here's a fit check that she made in Marcella's bedroom.
Thought I'd just show off my outfit today, because I thought I looked like a particularly elegant lesbian, which is something that I do indeed love looking like.
Well, I mean, doesn't everybody love looking like what they are? I hope you're having a fantastic day, you beautiful creature.
Hey, sweet pea, I thought I'd just show off my outfit today.
And then here's another fit check in Marcella's room with some big boots that are actually relatively important to the story.
Hey, sweet pea, so I am fine. I am getting taken care of. Check out this outfit. Look, got the big spiky scary boots on, spiked cuff, spiked collar. I'm hanging out, working on my van. I am hanging out with a person who's taking very good care of me, and they're letting me ship things to their house, which is something that I needed to do anyways, because most of the things that I need for my van, not most of the things, but some of the things I need for my van are kind of specialty things that I can't really find where I am. So, I'm going to be hanging out here for a little while. They're lovely. They're lovely. Their name's Marcella, and I really like them. So, hope you're having a good day.
So Marcella is being extremely fucking kind and generous to this person. Letting them shower, dress up, mail things over, post their fit checks, make their content. Incredibly generous and accommodating individual, for sure. Then, when she mysteriously ended up leaving this household, Marcella put some videos up, which we will have a look at now. Some statements, in fact.
I also wanted to say that my intention here is not to, like, expose or cancel Anastasia or Lexity on Instagram. I feel comfortable posting this because she already took accountability, like, publicly and privately, and she gave me permission to post it. The energy shift from this preface to the actual video is going to be kind of significant because I was not in a good state of mind.
So that's actually important to remember, actually, is that Anastasia allowed or gave permission for this video to be uploaded. Now, this video is like, there's a couple statements that Marcella makes against Anastasia, and this one by far is the tamest, which is probably why she was allowed to upload it, because it doesn't paint her out as like that bad, and she takes a lot of fault for what happened here. But let's just have a look at what actually happened, right?
Unhealthily codependent very early on, either in an emotional sense or like out of survival, like for a place to live. I just want to be loved like everyone else. Like I being in love and being in a relationship has always been like my favorite part of life, and to have someone like so perfect come along and me say, no, I'm not fully healed, so we can't do this. I think we were both very vulnerable and unprepared for what was going to happen, and for the feelings that we were going to have for each other. And it sort of went south, like partially my fault.
So I'm not playing the whole thing, of course, but just to set the scene a little from what she's saying there. She was a fan of hers primarily because she thought she was really pretty. So, of course, you can completely understand why, after learning that they live so close together, she would be the one to say, yeah, I'll have a hug with you, it's no problem. She drives over, she's fucking loving it, they're sort of hitting it off, as she says there. She is aware of the power dynamic, like she knows that it is a thing that is happening. She's trying to sort of bear that and keep that in mind as the relationship, I guess, blossoms. But overall, I suppose everything just seems valid and structured enough to where it isn't really a big deal, and they can carry on for the time being. Things start to go south, however, and she says it was partially her fault, right? So she is taking some responsibility. It's very interesting to see where things go, though, so I'll let it play out, right?
Too intense. She was very triggered by my attachment style. I wanted time. I wanted to get to know her. I just kind of wanted to exist with each other. Like, let's, you know, go out and do fun things. Let's watch movies together. Let's hang out. Let's not become so like crazy attached right from the beginning. Let's build this slowly so that I don't crash and burn, and so you don't crash and burn. But that was like very triggering to them, just because of past relationships they've had.
So let's just bear that in mind, right? What she has said there is the genesis, the base, the start of all the drama, all the fucking reaction, the vitriol that is about to be explained. All she said was, you know, it's only been like 3 days. Maybe we shouldn't be going quite this quickly. Which I'm sure we can all agree is like the most fucking reasonable thing to say, especially coming from a fan, that she possibly could have said. It's actually really good, really mature, and really like, I don't know, comforting to know that she has the self-awareness to realize that maybe like proceeding this fast with someone that you were a fan of isn't a great idea, especially if they seem to be quite pushy, they're homeless, you've given them a place to shower or whatever. Very likely that they're, you know, like, of course they're gonna want to stay there. But you shouldn't let the sympathy, empathy / sort of affection that you have for their content affect your, I guess, mindset towards them as a partner or wanting to keep them around. Like, you are not responsible for their happiness or their life. If you do not want to fucking wife them up after a week, that is totally within your rights, and probably the right move to make, actually. How does she react to this completely reasonable fucking request? Well, I'm sure, after everything that we know about her, like a completely normal adult would, right?
We're very conflicting, and we were very triggering to each other. And so it sort of blew up in my face in a very, very scary way. I did something a little bit incorrectly. I was sort of panicking myself, which is shitty because I've been panicking for like a week straight, and this person had been putting up with that shit, and I didn't really want them to. I didn't want them to leave because we were spending a lot of time together. I didn't want them to leave, but I also did. Like, I knew that I needed space, and that they needed to have space from me, because like having someone that's in a panic attack 50% of their day sucks. Like, nobody wants to be around that. Oh yeah, so yeah, I was having a panic attack because I was trying to eat food, and it's been very, very difficult for me to eat food ever since I got into a relationship with this person. I've been so incredibly anxious about the whole thing that I haven't been eating very much. And every time I look at a piece of food, I start to shake. And it takes me like 2 hours to finish the thing. So, yeah, I was freaking out. And they started to have an insecurity. They asked me, or they told me that they were really scared to lose me. And asked me what my fear was.
Yeah, she does that a lot, doesn't she? Like, she meets people, she knows them for about a day or two, she does this to fucking dogs even, and then she freaks out at the thought of them going away. It's like, no, lass, you seriously, and this is the best advice I could ever give you, you need to get a grip. The dog isn't yours. This lady here, Marcella, is not yours either. You've known each other for 2 days. They very nicely let you into their house when they didn't have to at all. They've let you shower. They've let you do fucking everything that you want to do. Them saying, maybe we should take some time apart and not jump straight into a relationship, isn't even you necessarily losing them. It's just them saying, you know, maybe I'm not ready for you to live here quite yet. It's been 4 days. I can't even eat food properly. I would appreciate just a little bit of time apart. Like, it's so blindingly reasonable. I can't fucking believe how she's even taking a little bit of blame for it. But obviously I understand, like, she has just come out of this situation. It's a very confusing situation. She seems to be very confused. Her emotions are fucking out of whack here. She was so hung up that she couldn't even eat food properly. Like, of course, she isn't really thinking straight. And she's about to detail the undeniable abuse that she had to endure at the hands of Anastasia. And of course, a lot of people after they've been abused don't realize just how abusive that person was and seem to take a lot of fault for it when realistically it wasn't their fault at all.
I wasn't even thinking about them in that moment. Like, they said they were scared to lose me, and based on knowing about their past, I should have consoled them and said, you're not going to lose me. But I did not do that. I just answered their question. I told them that my fear was that we became anxiously attached to each other. And that was the absolute wrong thing to say and do. It triggered something extremely scary.
Okay, we're about to hear about the scary thing that happened because it is mental. But off the bat, I'm sure, can we all agree that it was not the wrong thing of her to do? Of course, she thinks that at this moment, she sort of goes back on this later, which is good that she sort of, you know, is escaping the manipulation. But at this point in time, and this is definitely why Anastasia gave her permission to upload this video, by the way, she is accepting responsibility for having answered her query or concern wrong. When realistically, saying to someone who is, like, scared of losing you, you've only known them for 3 days, and the only reason you know them is because they were desperate for a hug, saying to them that you don't want to get too attached is not a bad answer at all. Like, they are totally within their rights to feel that way. They could have been way harsher even. They could have said, get the fuck out of my house, I don't want you here, you've overstayed your welcome, and that would have been totally fine in my opinion. Anyway, let's hear how Anastasia reacts to this horribly abusive thing that Marcella has just said.
And they were drinking alcohol, which frightened me when I learned that they would be drinking that night because they had warned me that they were an alcoholic. So I was already a little bit worried, and they blew up. And it was very, very reminiscent of ways that I've been blown up on before. Like, to a T. I was having, like, flashbacks to one of my previous relationships. It felt just like it. And again, a part of me liked that. That was appealing to me. But also, like, most of me fucking hated that shit. It did not feel good. I tried to console them. They explained, like, why what I said was triggering, and I, you know, was like, I get it. I said the wrong thing. I should have known better. I was in a bad state of mind myself. You know, next time that comes up, I'm going to do better. But they kept getting caught in a loop where I would say this, they would feel better about it and tell, like, apologize and say they're sorry and that I'm fine, it's okay, and then they would, like, circle back around to that idea and get really, really angry again, to the point where they were screaming in my face, like, screaming across the room, screaming in my face, stomping around, stumbling around because they were so drunk, leaving and then coming back.
So she has had a full-on drunken fucking temper tantrum where she is yelling in the face of this poor lady for hours. And there'd be wee breaks or whatever where she'd sort of forgive her and then she'd rile herself back up again and get right back to this incessant fucking never-ending screaming. And we've seen her scream on TikToks before. But that is more of like a controlled scream for the camera or whatever, where at the end she goes, or whatever the fuck she does usually, right? This must have been terrifying, especially as a fan of said person, to have them in your face like that, yelling at you like you've killed their family. And all she did was say, I don't think we should get too attached quite yet. It's only been 3 or 4 days. And that's warranted this crazy reaction from, and you even hear them saying this is so sad that like part of them enjoys it. And you hear this a lot in victims of abuse, even people who are like hit. A lot of girls who are like beat by their fucking husbands or boyfriends, there's a small part of them that enjoys it because in a way it's like they care. They care enough to abuse you to that level. It's obviously a very unhealthy way of thinking of things, but it is a thing that a lot of victims face. And I believe that is what's going on here. This person who she is undeniably a fan of is this angry, this irate, this abusive over the idea of them not being attached. So there's a small part of her that enjoys that, which is bad, and it's good that she acknowledges that that is bad, and it's also good that she acknowledges that it is a part of her that exists. It exhibits like a good amount of self-awareness here. But we can all agree the whole situation is so fucked up. Like, it is undeniably abusive.
I want to clarify that my feelings about this whole situation have changed completely. As I've processed things, I recognized red flags in her before I even met her, like just watching her videos. I recognized red flags in the video where I reached out to her saying, you know, that I would help. And I chose to ignore those red flags. I think, you know, no matter how much I say that I didn't have a parasocial relationship with her, there was still a power dynamic there. She was still someone that was well known, and I'm sure that played a part in me offering help.
This is all great. Like, this all goes to show how intelligent she is and how brave she is for coming out about this. Like, this is fucking unbelievable. I'd say that I'm proud, but that would only exemplify the parasocial relationships that she is talking about and are such a problem. So instead, I will say that she should absolutely be very proud of herself for coming to this realization so quickly. The reason she wasn't thinking this beforehand is without doubt because Anastasia was playing that manipulation that was so early on in this video about how if someone's getting yelled at, they need to understand where they were responsible for the reason they are getting yelled at. It's like textbook, come right back, the chickens are back to roost. Like, that's all led up to this moment where, to not sugarcoat it, she fucking abused this poor lassie. This poor lassie who was a fan of hers and just wanted to help. It's sick.
But I also think about if she was just like a friend of mine that didn't have any followers, or someone I didn't know that didn't have any followers, and they were having a mental health crisis, I still would have reached out to help them because that's just who I am. So it was really important for me to shed light on that situation. Because she's a public figure and because she has such a cult following, it was important for me to come out with this story to potentially prevent any other victims.
Fucking real class act. She should be proud of herself, man. Like, that is great to see. Obviously not that it happened, but her reaction to it is great to see. Anastasia obviously did not approve that last video to come out, by the way. Just the one where she did accept responsibility. We'll have a look at her response to everything about this after. But just know that she basically said, no, I didn't abuse anyone. I'm not abusive at all. Actually, fuck it. We'll play those clips. It makes sense order-wise to play those clips first. You know what? This video started off muted, and you can already see, like, just how unhinged they look. Look at that, man. The video's not even, there's not even any sound, and they look fucking mental.
Emotional abuse is abuse. I left! I didn't want to have anything to do with either of them. I just fucking left. They're the one doing it. They're the one fucking dragging me back into this. Are you fucking kidding me? I wanted to move on. I want to be like, I made a mistake. This is how I'm going to grow and move on. And they're just fucking, you made a mistake. You made a mistake. You made a mistake. How about they fucking focus on what they did at all?
So dumb. Like, of course you want to move on from it because you did something horrible. You abused this poor lassie who was a fan of yours and just wanted to give you a hug. You can't sit there and go, can we just move on? Like, why do you want to bring me into this? It's like, no. She is a victim, she is allowed to tell her story, and you can't blame her for fucking pulling you back into it. So it's like, no, if I abuse you, you need to be completely silent about it and not say anything, because if you do, then you're the one in the wrong. You're just trying to drag this over for fame and views and whatever the fuck. It's like, no, again, this is victim blaming 101. You're a fucking arsehole. Genuinely a fucking arsehole, man. Telling them to accept where they went wrong, to take responsibility. How about you fucking do that, prick?
Because Marcy did consent. And you know what? Marcella refused to tell me that she wouldn't leave me, and she encouraged me to drink alcohol after saying I was an alcoholic who wanted to fucking quit. She did do that, and she hasn't fucking apologized for that. Yeah!
When you say encouraged you to drink alcohol, does that mean she was there like, oh, drink, yes, drink, please, drink. I'm forcing you to drink, or was it more of a, you were drinking and she didn't actively try to stop you? Maybe because she thought you were a grown fucking adult who knew what you were doing when it came to alcohol, and yeah, maybe she knew you were an alcoholic. She doesn't know you that well. It's been 3-4 days, like. At the end of the day, you were the one drinking the alcohol. You were the one who has self-autonomy. You cannot blame her for what you did. Alcohol or not, what you did was fucking abusive. You're a drunken fucking maniac.
If you love me, you will go over there and you will correct everything they're saying. If you love me, you will go over there and you'll correct everything they're saying. If you love me, you will go over there and you will correct everything they're saying. If you love me, you will go over there and you'll correct everything they're saying. Because they're coming in here and they're yelling at me constantly.
And now she's there. She's literally repeating like an actual maniac. If you enjoy my content, if you like me, if what you say is true, if you're not fucking liars who are trying to deceive me by just saying you like my content, you would go over to their accounts. You would spread hate. You would make them hate themselves. You would tell them that they're lying and what they're doing is horrible, and you would defend me to the highest of heavens. It's like, why aren't we just criticizing the parasocial relationship and talking about how dangerous it is? This is so sick and twisted, man. Oh, man. And then she goes and assaults a pregnant woman. Jesus.
If you love me, you will go over there and you will correct everything they're saying, and you'll be nice, because I don't want to fucking get like, oh, a mob. You will be nice and you will tell them that that is not fucking true. Yeah, and you will tell them that Marcella had just as much a fucking part in the relationship not going well as I did, because that's how fucking relationships work.
That's not how abusive relationships work. Like, you realize how what she's saying here is a huge red flag. She's saying no matter what, if a relationship goes badly, it is both of the people's fault, like, mutually. You know, it's never 90-10, it's never 70-30, it's never even 100-0, it's always 50-50. Again, when you pair that up with the initial claim in, like, one of the earlier videos about how if you're being abused, you need to accept responsibility for it, I'm not even sure it paints an ugly picture anymore. It's just a horrible thing that has now happened because of a horrible mindset that she has. Which, by the way, only applies to other people. She can never apply that mindset to herself because she is unable to take responsibility. In abusive relationships, no. They are both not equally as horrible to each other. That's definitely not what happened here. Marcella obviously responded to this video because it's insane and they absolutely deserve a response to the fucking unhinged insanity.
I want to share my side of the story a little bit more in full, and also outside of me processing a traumatic experience. This person says, she said a lot of things on the victims. I think maybe the worst is that she called her victims abusers who should take accountability for the part they played in the abuse Lexity gave them. I know at one point the narrative was that Lexity was justified in the most recent victim's story of shouting at her and scaring her because she forced Lexity to drink and then triggered her on purpose. Yes, everything she's ever said has been on a stream at one point or another. She blamed Marcy for forcing her to drink when Marcy knew she was an alcoholic, and that Marcy could never have experienced actual abuse if she thinks Lexity shouting at her is abusive.
Okay, let's just get this clear again as well. To be shout at someone like that is absolutely abuse. Just because you're not hitting them, it doesn't make it not abuse. It's emotional abuse, which is absolutely still valid and still horrible. And is also absolutely what Marcella was victim to at the hands of Anastasia. Anyone who can't see that, I don't know what to tell you, but I feel as though my audience will definitely understand that that is all true. If I'm saying anything ignorant here, as always, feel free to correct me in the comments. But, you know, I feel like I'm on the right tracks here. Like, that's absolutely abuse.
Everyone on Instagram Live that we couldn't possibly know what it's like to be abused if we think showing an emotion like rage is abusive, and that our partner should be able to accommodate our rages if we can accommodate their sadness. Then she said that she's been abused and she knows what it's like and it's not being yelled at.
Also, this is crazy. You are always welcome to tell anyone and everyone about any of my behavior, especially the abusive stuff. So as much as she says it wasn't abusive, that is literally her admitting over text messages that she was being abusive. How can you also complain that she is talking about it publicly when you have given her permission to talk about it publicly? You fucking wanker, honestly. She was kind enough to ask you for permission. I don't even think she should have asked you for permission. Your permission doesn't fucking matter here. But the fact that you gave her permission to talk about the abusive stuff that you did to her and then claim that you didn't abuse her is insane to me.
So I think it's obvious that this person has gotten Marcy and myself mixed up. We are two different people. My name is Marcella. I know that's confusing. The yelling went on. Yeah,
Marcy is another one of the victims. I feel like a lot has happened by the time this has come out. Some of the other victims have been spoken about. The other victims we will get into as time goes on as well. We're just starting with Marcella first because chronologically, Marcella was the first victim of Anastasia. That is, like, public at least.
What felt like a couple hours. That timeline could be a little bit skewed. But it was so loud and went on for so long that at one point my ears were ringing. And of course, as I mentioned before, I was dissociating. So there was a lot of stuff that was said that I don't even remember. What I do remember was, as I said before, I would take accountability and say, you know what, I should have consoled you. I'm sorry, I understand why you're upset. Next time I'm going to do better. She would calm down. She would say, I'm so sorry for blowing up on you. You're right, you did nothing wrong. And then she would circle back around and she would say, you know what, fuck you. And then she'd go off and the same ramblings over and over again. It was just the same circle. So to me, it was like being screamed at and scared, and then, oh, she's calming down, okay, everything's gonna be okay. And then screamed at again, and okay, everything's gonna be fine, I'm safe. And then screamed at again. I don't know how many times that happened. It was at least 3 or 4. At one point, she called me a whore. I don't know why. At one point, she made the motion of like spitting in my direction, as if I was, you know, she looked at me as if I was worth nothing. And then at another point, I was cowering right here on the floor. Okay, I was in like a fetal position, and I told her, please stop screaming at me. I really need you to stop screaming at me right now. And she said, she switched up, and I'm sure you've seen this in her lives, she switched from yelling to a baby voice, and she said, if I talk to you like this, are you going to understand me? Do I need to talk to you like a baby? Is it okay if I talk to you like this?
Oh, mate, that is like textbook abuse emotionally. That is fucking ringing at the pure decibels that were being wrung from her mouth. Or vocal cords, whatever the fuck you want to call them. Look at Marcella's face right now. That is everyone watching this and like listening to this and her claiming it's not abuse. That is the appropriate face to pull. There is no more appropriate face.
Please look me in my eyes and tell me that's not abusive. Please.
Nah, it's not abusive. Didn't hit you. You know, you're allowed to shout at your girlfriend all you want and it won't be abuse. You can scream at your black partner that they're a cotton-picking slave all you want and it just won't matter at all. Like, it's honestly, if they call that abuse, then they're using their victim status as a weapon against you. It's horrible, really.
And I was just doing anything I could to go along with what she was saying and agree with her, because I genuinely felt unsafe for my life, just because I didn't know this person. I did not know her very well. We had known each other for, I believe, 4 days when this happened, so I really didn't know what she was capable of. And in that moment, I knew I had made a very terrible mistake. Yeah, so I was just like doing everything I could to make this stop. You know, like, yes, you're right, I'm sorry, I'll do better next time. At one point, I was painting her nails while she was in like a calm moment, and then she started yelling again. And she was stomping around my room. She knocked my shit over. She knocked over a large picture in my air purifier because she was like so drunk that she was stumbling around. She left. She got really mad, left, and then came back several times. When she left, she went out to her van to film the reels that she posted about like codependency or attachment with your partner. And what would happen was she would go out to her van, call me, and then come back in. And this whole time, the first time she left, I should have locked the door and been done with it, but I was so paralyzed in fear that I just sat in my bed and was trying to not lose it. I had talked about being treated like this in previous relationships, but I have never been yelled at for that long and that loudly and that aggressively. So I genuinely was terrified. I was paralyzed.
Yeah, I mean, that makes total sense, because I feel like if you're being shouted at that much, especially to start off with, you'd feel this like visceral feeling. But as it goes on, as the hours pass by, it's almost like exposure therapy at that point. So if you're scared of spiders, you see a spider, then you're scared, right? You get this shock, like, oh fuck, this is horrible. But if you're in a room full of spiders and they don't do anything to you for hours, you go from scared to almost like numb. It's not a nice feeling, but the feeling that she's talking about like sort of just freezing and dissociating completely makes total sense. And I'd wager to say, like, if anyone out there thinks that what happened there isn't a form of abuse, then genuinely fucking let me know why, because I don't see how anyone can make that argument. Okay, the last public interview or statement made by Marcella was an interview done by another YouTuber. Oh, this is Goddammit Malcolm. I know this person. Yeah, again, to give credit, this is a YouTuber known as Goddammit Malcolm, so go show them some love. And we get some insane pieces of information here, such as Anastasia did not even ask for Marcella's age at any point. Luckily, I think she was of age, but if she wasn't, imagine how fucking bad that would have been. It's just further evidence just of how irresponsible Anastasia actually is as an influencer.
Sight unseen, she didn't know who I was, what I looked like, how old I was. She
never asked how old you were before you guys met up?
No. She just replied to my comment. She was like, I'm on my way. And it was about 2 hours away.
And she came to you?
Yeah, she came to me. And so she gets here. We call each other and decide what we're going to do. We decide to go get dinner. I'm walking up to her, and this is like a surreal moment because this person on the internet that I've been watching is right here in front of me. And the first thing she says to me is, oh, you're really cute. And I was like, okay, thank you. And then I gave her the hug that she was looking for. And then we went and we sat down. It was a little bit awkward at first. I was kind of like in shock that I was looking at this person across the table. And we were just generally talking. I mean, it felt like a first date situation. You know, you ask like...
Sure, like small talk, stuff like that.
Yep.
Okay.
At one point, she goes, "You're attracted to me, aren't you?" And I was like, "How could you tell?" And she said, "Because you're flirting with me." And so then that, you know, for me, that opened up like, okay, obviously we're both attracted to each other. So what is this going to look like? And I was just trying to gauge her to see if she was a safe person, which isn't possible to do when you've just met someone. But I you know, I often cross boundaries and make bad decisions. That's just very normal for me, and I'm trying to change that. But I ended up offering her to come to my house, and so then she came over, and the intention originally was that I was going to pull some cards for her out of this deck that I had because we had discussed.
I don't know, man. I feel like as a YouTuber, if I was having dinner with a viewer, the words, "Oh, you're attracted to me, aren't you?" would never fucking leave my mouth. Especially because she was definitely aware of how starstruck and in awe Marcella was, like, seeing her. I think reaching out to your fans for sexual relationships and that is like... I think generally it's a pretty bad move because there is that power dynamic there. It's not the most moral thing to do. Let alone in a situation like this where you're almost sort of weaponizing how horrible your mental state is. You're almost guilting them into wanting to remain in this relationship with you. And when it doesn't work, you just go fucking goblin mode and explode on her for hours on end. It really is disgustingly abusive.
And so then I do that. And then she, very soon after that, asked if she could kiss me. And I said yes. And then I just let her sleep at my house because it was really cold outside. And I could tell that she probably wanted to shower and, you know, do laundry and all that kind of stuff. So I was willing to be a safe space for her to just exist for a moment while she got her van together.
So it was her. She's the one that initiated all of everything that was intimate or sexual about this experience. She's the one who initiated all of it. And you can see Malcolm has sort of made a note there, instant love bombing, and I don't think that's too inaccurate, to be honest. It is as though she's sort of checking boxes in an abuser handbook, and that massive explosion was almost inevitable at that point. Like Marcella said, like, the red flags were everywhere, and if she wasn't so starstruck, I'm sure she would have seen them earlier.
And obviously, if I ask a question and you're like, I don't want to talk about that, just let me know, no problem at all. Were you working at the time? Did she just like crash at your house while you were at work, or what did that look like?
I was working, so when I went to work, she also left, so I did not have her at my house when no one was here.
Okay. And she was like was she in the van at that time, and so she just kind of went and did like van shit? Okay.
Yeah, she was like trying to get her van together and figured out while I was at work. The yelling was just in my face suddenly. You know, the love bombing, like you said, that was instant, but the night that she blew up on me, previously she had told me that she was an alcoholic and that she hadn't drank since we met, and that was really cool because, you know, she didn't feel like she needed to drink when she was and so then on January 6th, which I want to add, I forgot to add in my video, January 6th was the anniversary of my dad's death, and I made that very obvious to her and that it was a very difficult day for me. So the fact that this all blew up on that day doesn't surprise me because that's how these people operate. But
sure.
Yeah, she told me she was previously an alcoholic, and on January 6th, I noticed that she had brought an alcoholic beverage into my apartment. And that was the thing in your video that I think it was a small detail, but whoever you were collaborating with had said that we bought a 6-pack of beer. I don't know where that detail came from because I never, I didn't want to drink. She just kind of had the drink.
So it was her that had it. Okay.
No. She forced her to do it, even though she's the one who bought the drinks and she had nothing to do with it. On January 6th, no less, the day that the American Straight Pride Parade happened in the Capitol, just a few years before all of this, eh? What a day, man. Things just seem to go down in America on that specific day.
In my head, I was like, okay, this could be bad. She went out to her van, and then she came back into my apartment with a drink. And I don't think I said much about it at the time until after she blew up.
Well, sure. And it's like hardly any of your business as well, especially like that early into the relationship. So it'd be kind of weird for you to be like, hey, queen, like, are you sure you want to be doing this? Like, that'd be kind of fucking weird in general, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. And I didn't know, she had told me she was an alcoholic, but she didn't tell me necessarily the extent of it. I didn't know that she got angry when she was drinking. I didn't know what that looked like. So there was this night where she drank and blew up. And then there was a night, I don't remember the exact date. It was like a couple days after or whatever. I called her to check in, and I had said something, and that's the night where she's saying I drove her to drink. It's not the night that we're talking about right now.
Was that after she had left?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
She, like I said in my video, she started to feel insecure. So she asked me, she said, I'm really scared to lose you. And then asked me what my fears were. And we hadn't from what I remember, we hadn't been talking about that kind of thing at all. Like we were just having a chill night. Like I was trying to keep it light because I was having a panic attack for hours.
Do you feel like she asked that intentionally to upset you? Like, obviously, I'm not asking you to ascribe intent, but from your perspective, do you feel like that was kind of like a prod?
Yeah, because I don't know if it was on her live or what, but I saw her say something like she craves dopamine so bad sometimes that she just starts fights.
Yeah, I mean, to ask that question to someone you've only known for 3-4 days and they're a fan and you've initiated all the contact and that, and you're the one being so pushy and you're the one bringing in the alcohol to drink and that, I totally understand why it's reasonable to assume that she was only asking that question to start a fight. Because if you're yelling at someone for hours on end, there was a part of you that almost fucking wanted to do that, to unload like that, because you're looking for this like sick thrill, and you probably thought you'd get away with it because she was so starstruck by you. And that's also playing into your ego as well, like, oh, they think I'm amazing, they're like infatuated with me, this is incredible.
Overstimulated, and so I was kind of shutting down and not showing her as much attention, and I could tell that it was bothering her, and so I felt like this was just a way to get that dopamine that she was.
Yeah, man. I mean, she even says it there, like, it came after she started showing her less attention because her ego was so fucking high after all of like the obvious, oh my god, like a celebrity that I'm a fan of. She's not a fucking celebrity, but you know what I mean. And she must have loved that. The narcissistic side of her that we know exists because she's so self-important must have loved that. And the second she feels Marcella drifting away, she's like, no, like, she's a fan of me and I'm at her house. She should feel so lucky that I'm with her right now. Why the fuck is she drifting away? Let me start some shit here.
I fear that we become anxiously attached. That's like, you know, I have trauma related to that. And this is where my memory gets a little bit fuzzy because I was dissociating so heavily. But that was a major trigger for her. And
you dissociating was a trigger for her?
No, me saying that I was afraid we'd become anxious.
Gotcha.
Because she was basically like, you know what, fuck you, because you know what my triggers are. You know that I'm scared to lose people.
You know what my triggers are. Interestingly, the exact same thing she said about her mum when her mum walked into her room. You know, if we recall back to that video when she got kicked out, the reason why she was so mad at her mum was like, my mum walked into my room when she knows what my fucking triggers are. She knows that I don't like my space being invaded, but she broke into my room, and that's why I'm so fucking pissed about all this or whatever. That seems to be a thing that she falls back into whenever she loses her temper, is, you know what my triggers are. Once again, shifting blame onto the people that she is about to abuse.
I was like, okay, I'm sorry. You're right. I should have thought about that better. I should have consoled you. So it just continued to escalate where she was screaming at the top of her lungs.
Okay.
For a couple hours. She said, fuck you, very aggressively in my face. She didn't actually spit at me, but she made that gesture as if I meant nothing to her. She told me that, she was like, you know what? You've done nothing for me. I've done so much for you and you haven't done a damn thing for me.
Girl, you've been for like a fucking day. That's crazy. Okay.
I looked at her and I was like, I've done nothing for you. Look where you're at right now. You're in my home. I'm taking care of you.
True.
That's the most obvious thing in the world. You've done nothing. What have you done for her? Like, oh, I provided you all of this amazing content on TikTok where I throw a whip around and get kicked out of my house and cry about a dog like a whiny arsehole. The fucking audacity to say that she's done nothing in a situation like that.
I'd scream and scream, and then I would apologize, and then she'd calm down. And then she called me a whore at one point.
I mean, to call her a fucking whore is after you initiated sexual intimacy with a girl you've known for a few hours who you know is infatuated and a fan of you. And just to do it like that, easy, because you want a hug and you drove all the way over to her fucking gaff and now you're calling her a whore.
And then she'd start screaming again. I'd apologize. She'd calm down. Meanwhile, in the middle of her being upset, she left my apartment a couple times, went out to her van and filmed a couple reels about attachment and how you should be codependent on your partner.
That's certainly a take. Okay.
And then she came back in. And this is the worst one for me, which I described in one of my YouTube videos, but I was cowering on the floor.
So now she's even trying to communicate and manipulate people with the reels that she posts on Instagram. So when she was posting those reels at the beginning of this video about her ex, maybe, she was definitely making those fully intending for the ex to have seen them and react to them in a way. Because that's absolutely what she's fucking doing here. She's making that content with Marcella in mind. Like, I cannot wait for Marcella to see these videos and know exactly where she fucked up and how she lost a legend like me.
I was in a fetal position and I was visibly shaking because I was so scared. And I looked up at her desperately and I said, can you please stop screaming at me? I really need you to stop screaming at me right now. And she switched from the yelling, aggressive, screaming voice. And she was like, oh, if I talk to you like you're a little baby, is that going to be better? Can you understand me if I talk to you like this? Is this okay?
Can you please stop screaming? And she code switched like ASAP Rocky to baby condescending voice. Okay, cool. Nice one, Malcolm. This whole spot is just like really like official, decent tellings of the whole event, and then they just slap a little joke in there. Imagine they did that in court when they're like writing down what the witnesses and that are saying, just throwing a couple quips every now and then.
I don't remember exactly how it ended, like what was said. I do remember when she finally left for the last time, she was really stumbling around. She was wearing these tall ass platform boots and just like stumbling and knocked over my shit, and it came crashing down, and then she slammed the door, and then she left my apartment.
I mean, again, that's more abuse. Just fucking destroying this person's house with the platform boots that we saw earlier on in this video.
I didn't the other 2 times she left. I was just kind of paralyzed in fear on my bed. But I locked the door. I don't remember what was said between us, but it felt like, you know, okay, that's it. So I called her to ask about advice on the video. And then I was like, okay, also I'm going to check in with you. You know, how are you doing? She was sort of very angry about her phone not working, and was, you know, the whole time we were together, she kept saying that she was cursed because all this bad stuff keeps happening to her. And she was reiterating that I'm just cursed. Nothing ever goes right. And I was like, hey, listen, I have a lot of stuff going on in my life too. We're not cursed. This is just life. You have to deal with it. And then she had told me that she wasn't drinking, and she said that she wasn't drinking for me. She wanted to stop drinking for me. And that scared me because of what had happened. And I didn't want to lead her on and feel like, if you stop drinking, then we can be in a relationship again. So
Certainly.
Again, so reasonable of her. Like, that bridge is burnt now, man. Fucking leave me alone. You have just given me like one of the worst experiences I've ever had in my life, and now you're saying you want to get back with me? Or in your mind you think that like we're a thing now? Like, how dumb can you actually be to think that I want to be with you after that? Like, oh, I bet it really turned her on when I shouted at her face for 4 hours straight and called her a fucking worthless whore. She must have loved that.
I'm always advocating for doing things for yourself and self-love, because that's the only thing that's gotten me through shit.
Sure. And you set yourself up for failure if you put your sobriety and your well-being in the hands of other people, because people are valuable. That's like one of the first things that anybody who has ever gotten sober in their entire fucking life will tell you, is that you don't hinge your recovery on other people. Certainly, yeah. Immediately
So
that idea.
the phrase that triggered her was when she told me she was not drinking for me. I said, I think you should stop drinking for you. She kept calling me and then hanging up. And I had messaged her, I think you're misinterpreting what I'm saying again, because she does that thing where she pulls something you say out of context and twists it, does her little mental gymnastics, so it's something that triggers her. She said, you don't want me to not drink because of what happened. Cool. Literally just made me want to drink, which I already did. I said, I'm not drinking because of you. And you said, I mean, you can do whatever you want. In no universe is that encouraging.
If you don't do exactly what I want you to do, if you don't engage in this relationship with me, if you don't have sexual intimacy with me, well, guess what? I'm gonna keep fucking abusing you. That's what I'm hearing here. Like, all this anger is off the back of her saying that they're not gonna be together.
You literally just told me you don't care about my sobriety. I said, no, I just don't want you to feel as if I have control over what you do. I want you to be sober for yourself, not for me. I want you to be sober for yourself first. She said, cool, I can't constantly get pushed away. It's deeply triggering. I said, okay, that was not my intention when I said that. She said, you are pathologically afraid of interdependence. It is okay to improve yourself because of the way you hurt someone. I said, yes, I agree with that. She said, it is not okay for you to treat me this way. If you care about keeping me around, this is deeply triggering, and you seem to refuse to understand that. And then she called me again. I don't remember what was said on that call. And then I messaged, I clearly do not understand how to communicate with you effectively. I don't want to keep hurting you like that. I clearly don't have a very good understanding of what is triggering to someone who is struggling with addiction, and I have failed twice now. I understand why saying do whatever you want was the wrong thing. I'm so sorry. I had completely different intentions behind it, but I get that it was misconstrued. You are very tender, and I'm making all the wrong moves. Trying to help, I'm literally doing the complete opposite. She said, you need me or stay away and be okay with me needing you. If you push me away, I will blow up. I know myself. Like, you actively push me away constantly, even when it costs you nothing. I can't make you fall in love if you refuse to let yourself need someone. That is what I want, and if you don't, stay away. Like, it can take time, but that is the goal.
Again, it's like she's reading off the handbook of how to manipulate and abuse Your people. Happiness is not her responsibility. She can fuck you off if she wants to. She can tell you to get fucked if she wants to. In fact, it's probably best for her to tell you to get fucked and do not engage with her again. You're being an actual villain here. Like, you are being a horribly abusive bastard. Just, like, it is... It makes me sick. It actually does make me fucking sick. And it's not even like smart abuse either. Like, you're not even good at abusing. It's so transparent. That's not a criticism. I'm not saying like you need to work on your abuse game, but it's so clear to see what she's doing here.
She said, do you want that with anyone ever or not? Because if you don't want that ever with anyone, stay away from me. I need a life partner, like a person I share every aspect of my life with. If you don't want that, I can't make this work outside of only friends, and I'd really like to know. I said, I do, but I don't think I'm capable of that at this point. I have no idea how to navigate that, and it's not fair to you. She said, I'm sorry this relationship was too much work for you. I said, I'm just not in a stage of my life where I can handle it yet. I'm still learning. I'm sorry it took all this to figure that out. She said, you should be so much sorrier. She said, I'm sorry I'm worth so little to you that you mess up and immediately give up. Like you didn't even try to make amends. I said, that's not true. I mess up and realize I'm not capable of this. I set boundaries to refrain from hurting you further because I care about you. If I was asking for something you were not capable of providing, I'd hope you do the same. And that was that conversation. She was like, why are you sending people after me? Like, what did you say? Why are people being so mean to me? And I said, here's what happened. Like, you saw the video I posted. Go watch my story. That's everything I've said on it. And she asked me again, or she said, you sent people after me. And I said, these are the consequences of your actions. I don't know what to say. I did not tell people, hey, go attack this person. I presented the information because it was public, and they are responding to that information. I am not purposefully sending people after you.
Asking, has she tried to talk to you since all of this?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
I reached out to her actually because I have some of her belongings, and I want to get rid of them, but I didn't want there to be like anything she could use against me. So I tried to reach out just the other day to ask her what she wants me to do with her stuff, and she did not respond.
She probably wants her to get rid of them so that she can use that against her in her videos. Like, I left shit over there and she bent it away. She got rid of it all. That's my stuff and she fucking stole it, the thieving bastard. Turns out the conversation, and I genuinely believe that Marcella has been so reasonable, so kind in this situation that there really isn't anything else she could have done. Like, she's done a great job here. And once again, she should be incredibly proud of herself for this.
Wants her partner to rely on her in every way possible, like financially and emotionally. She had said that she thinks when you have a partner, if that partner dies, then you would want to die soon after too. Like, you should be that attached. You shouldn't be able to exist without your partner.
Who's your favorite commentary YouTuber?
I don't know if I have a favorite, but I've been watching Dankyjabo lately.
Oh! Whoa! That's fucking cool, isn't it? Yo, big up Marcella for watching the channel. I'm a big fan of you as well. I think you did fucking great here. If you're watching this video, which I totally understand if you wouldn't because it involves Lexity who fucking abused you and that might be too much for you, but if you are watching to this point, big up yourself. You've done a great job, so you should be proud. And you've got great taste in YouTubers. That's actually fucking mental. That's quite surreal, that actually. That was 10 months ago as well. So that's like, I was like half the size I am now. That's actually so weird, by the way. Like, it actually feels really weird.
Sweet pea, if you're more afraid of getting attached to someone than you are afraid of losing them, you're not ready to be in a relationship yet. I've been in a lot of relationships where they're more afraid of getting too attached to me than they are of losing me, and that just leads to a lot of problems. You will get attached to your partner. That's what a partner is for. They're the person that you need.
That is absolutely a video about Marcella. And if she's not ready for a relationship yet, which you are openly admitting, if you're scared of being attached to someone, you're not ready for a relationship, you're acknowledging that, but you're just unable to accept that she isn't ready for a relationship, which is totally fine if she's not ready. Maybe she is ready for a relationship, by the way. Maybe just not with you, especially because of the way you reacted. Like, maybe if you actually reacted in a kind, normal, you keep talking about empathy, in an empathetic manner, it wouldn't have gone the way that it did. It's like you're playing a Telltale game and you've picked the worst option at every possible scenario, and you are playing on easy mode as well because of the pre-established parasocial relationship there. So you've really fucked it. You're just that much of a unlikable, horrible dick.
I don't think you get to control what other people talk about, especially when it comes to you and what they've experienced with you. Like, if it makes you look bad, maybe you shouldn't have done it, and you need to be okay with them talking about it. Yeah? Hey, sweetie, I don't think you get to control what other—
I mean, that's just so fucking ironic, isn't it? Accountable is pretty neat. I don't know who Accountable is, but I'm glad that they're good at cleaning their house, I guess.
So my main experience in the dating world is that people will assume I'm their abusive ex and then push me away constantly because of it. And I'm nothing like that person, but when they—
Yeah, you're probably way worse.
So people are really triggered by the idea of me wanting to rely on someone, and I don't really know why. Like, I'm not forcing anyone to consent. The whole idea is that I'm mad that nobody wants to do the thing that I want to do. I want to find somebody who wants the same thing that I want, so we can try and build a connection together that's so strong neither of us can break it because we've entangled our lives in such a way that we can't separate them from each other, right? We rely on each other, and when one of us dies, the other one will soon follow because we don't really know how to take care of ourselves emotionally or physically without the other one, but that's okay.
This is awful. This form of codependency is like objectively toxic and incredibly unhealthy, and perpetuated by a lot of modern media in the West, at least, where it's like this whole caricature of two halves coming together, like you complete me sort sort of thing, when realistically, a good relationship should be two whole, complete people being like able to bring their love together to make something beautiful, as opposed to two incomplete people trying to complete each other. That shit will destroy both people. Like, there is no one in the world with any knowledge of psychology or relationships that will encourage what she's talking about here. And it just goes to show, I mean, it makes sense why her outlook on relationships is so horrible.
I'm a mommy dom, and that's not just a sex thing. It's a thing that I am in romantic relationships outside of the bedroom. I want to cook for you. I want to run you a bath. I want to take care of you, and I want to hold you and tell you that you're safe and listen to your emotions and do the things that I wish my mother had done for me when I was a child. And yes, it does come from trauma, and that's okay, right? Everything comes from trauma. Trauma shapes us, and just because you can say, oh, you have mommy issues, yes, I do, and I handle them very well, I give consenting adults a comforting, welcoming space where they can be emotionally vulnerable and feel taken care of, so I can experience vicariously the childhood I never got. What's bad about that? And if you think being a mommy dom is just a sex thing, you know nothing about BDSM culture. It is so much more than just a sex thing. It is a sex thing, though.
Why do you have to call it, first of all, why call it mummy dom? Dom is domination, right? That obviously is going to lead people to think it's a sex thing. And mummy is like, you're not a mummy, you're a partner. That is what partners should do. They should cook, they should clean, they should make them feel seen, they should nurture. That is what a partner should do. Not a mother should do it as well, but a partner should also do that. Your definition of a mummy dom is my definition of a good partner. I do all those things. Does that make me a fucking mummy dom? Fucking dommy mummy Dankyjabo. Cause what, I cook a hash brown every now and then. Secondly, yeah, it was really kind and comforting when you yelled in that woman's face for hours on end and called her a fucking whore. Is that what you wish your mother did to you, yeah?
So let me just be clear. This is my space. I will display what emotions I want in this space. And if I'm angry, I'm not gonna hurt you. It's literally impossible. So if you're afraid, that's you being triggered, and you don't get to put your discomfort on me. I'm allowed to feel whatever emotions I want. I'm not attacking you. I'm not singling you out. I'm just feeling an emotion, and you find it uncomfortable, and you don't allow me to feel it because it's uncomfortable for you. That's not acceptable. And if you are going to feel that way, leave this space. Or do not ever say that to me again. You do not get to pathologize me. You do not get to tell me I'm not allowed to feel angry. If I am not yelling at you, I'm allowed to feel whatever I want.
Whatever happened to accountability being great, but now all of a sudden, don't hold me accountable, don't tell me anything's wrong with me, if you don't like it, fuck off, I don't want you here. It's like, no, you said you wanted to be held. This is the difference between saying you want to be held accountable and actually being okay with being held accountable. Which being okay with being held accountable is fucking difficult. Which is why, if you're not okay with it, you should be honest about that. Or at least say, like, I find difficulty taking criticism because that is a difficult thing to endure. Most people say that they can do it because it is universally seen as a good thing to be able to do. But most people don't understand how hard it is to genuinely be told something that is wrong with yourself, or an opinion that you have that is, you know, glaringly wrong. You know, most people get all defensive and shit, which is exactly what she's doing here, by the way. Like, she's so manipulative, it's honestly scary.
So that thing with Marcella was a huge mistake. I really liked her. I loved her even, and I really wanted to work on us. I liked a lot of things about her.
Again, you loved her. It was 3 to 4 days max. If you love someone after 4 days, you're the problem.
She did not want to work on us. I got mad and she gave up, and I took full accountability for my part in that because that's the healthy thing to do. I wish she would have taken accountability for her part in it. You see, I don't know how everyone assumes I'm the bad one when I'm the one taking accountability while she's just shirking accountability entirely. The reason we're not talking right now is because after I got mad at her and, you know, ended up, you know, ruining the relationship, I was like telling her that I was having a hard time drinking, but I'm not going to drink because I really hurt her, and like, I don't want to hurt anyone, so I'm not going to do that. And she was like, oh, well, don't not drink for me. You can drink if you want to. And it's like,
no, that's not what she said, you fucking piece of shit! This is great. This is actually great now, because now that we know what happened, when we listen to her retelling of events, that just shows us how distrustful and how manipulative and how much of a liar she genuinely is to be able to spin something as reasonable as you should stop drinking for you, not for me, into you can drink if you want is so blatantly manipulative that I can barely believe she has the fucking cheek to get on camera and try that shit. She's so abusive that it's abhorrent.
They encourage me to drink because the idea of me not drinking for you is me relying on you too much. Like, no, that level of pathological
fear of reliance is just gonna trigger me constantly, like it did, and like I warned her it would. And that doesn't make it okay that I stuck around and let her trigger me and let myself blow up, but I really wish she would take any accountability. Why do you assume I'm the one who's the problem when I'm taking accountability for what I did?
She's a terrible fucking person. So bad. I've run out of it's horrible. Like, she's awful. And, I mean, she sounds reasonable there, as in, like, she is talking in a reasonable tone. That doesn't last very long.
And then you refuse to listen, and then I get angry. Refuse to listen to the boundaries I set. Yeah, I set them when I'm angry. You refusing to listen to me when I'm angry is like literally the whole fucking point, okay? You're the problem.
Girl, at least use some PPE. Speak, girl. Scream to the high heavens if you must. Get it out. And she's power tooling wood.
Oh, yeah, you're actually right. All right, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, that was the problem with this live, is that you were using power tools with your hair down. Everything else was totally fine and reasonable and recommended even, but that was the issue. I mean, it is an issue, to be fair. Like, I'm glad she put her hair up.
A jazz cigarette. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? What are them? One of them cool cigarettes. One of them cigarettes that doesn't have nicotine in it. That's other stuff in it. That's legal in the state, I mean. You know, that's what I need. I like don't know where they are. I have one somewhere around here. Give you a shot? Yeah, no, I don't think I can trust anyone after this. This was really, really seriously,
Shut the fuck up, you whiny, soppy twat. We're ending the video there. By the way, there is so much more to talk about in regards to Lexity, Anastasia, Lexity on Instagram, Anastasia, whatever you want to call her, this fucking gremlin, right? There is a lot to talk about. But with all that being said, I've been recording for over 3 hours now. My camera's starting to overheat. I'm worried for the well-being of my editor, Naz, who has to comb through all this fucking footage. And I also don't want you guys to wait too long for a new video. So what I might do is, maybe I'll do a part 2. I can do a part 2 with all the other stuff after this if you guys are interested. Definitely let me know in the comments if you'd like something like that. For now, though, I think we're going to end it. I mean, the fact that we've only gone through like half after all this time, I mean, it really goes to show just how much shit there is about this lady. But for now, I think we'll end it there. So, as always, hopefully you all enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and yeah, I'm going to say subscribe again because I want to thank you for 300k. So if you want to up that number even higher, then hop aboard. I'd love to have you here. Also, for the people who are watching this far ahead, which won't be many of the real ones, I'm thinking I'll probably start a cameo soon. Like the amount of comments I got in the last video talking about like wanting me to start a cameo, I think I'll do it. It should be fun. Seems relatively easy. Good way to, you know, make some of you happy or give you something that you want, a wee message or something. So yeah, should be fun. I might do something like that. I might not have it open all the time. I maybe do like limited things just in regards to how busy I am at certain points. Catch you guys in the next one. Bye.